Yes, we're going to play that song later on in its entirety, as well as a few other songs. I want to welcome everybody back to Empress Ella G and Lance Scurv. We don't care what we call the show, it's the content that matters. And I'm just glad to be here. We're going to continue with that particular chapter that we started in the book earlier, Human Nature, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And Empress Ella G, I know you're here. You're so quiet. Let me hear from you. Let's continue on.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
indeed.
Hello,
It's going to be
everyone.
very interesting.
Yes, indeed. Hope everyone had a wonderful day, and we're all ready to delve more into this very fantastic book. Why am I hearing myself,
Yes.
Brother Lance?
I don't know. Everything over here is cool.
Me too.
That's it. You hear echo?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing over here that can do that, but I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. They're messing with us again in a different way, but is it really bad, or is this something that maybe you want to back out and come back in and try that again? And
Um.
hit that link again. We can do that. It's not a problem. Because you
Um.
know it's always going to be something.
Right. Right. All right. Let me back out and come back in.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. We'll be here waiting for you. Yeah, but this book is just so on point, and the whole LanceScurv show is not just going to turn into the book, but we're going to touch on this on a regular basis aside from the morning shows. And like I said, I want to build a roster of and circulation and rotation of shows and different people. Mr. Political is not feeling too good this week, so he didn't do anything. I spoke with him earlier, and he's under the weather. Something's going around other than what they say in the news. So, we have enough people that we will keep the rotation going. If the numbers drop, then I'll add on more shows and get more rants. And there's things that I want to talk about because there's so many things happening out in the world right now that it's almost hard to keep up. Not that you have to keep up, but you want to touch on things that, for me, when I see a story, it's not like I'm trying to be a news reporter and all of a sudden I got to cover the story. No, but if I can see a connection to the Black community, the stolen African community, the melanated community worldwide, and see a certain angle in it that maybe nobody else sees. I don't want to be a talking head to say and spout the same thing everybody else is saying. That's not the point. That's really a waste of time. There's nothing unique about that. But if we can
Right.
come with something unique, a unique perspective that I think will be advantageous to all of us, not that I know everything, but the thing is, we all see something. We all have a perspective. We all know a little bit of something. So if we can bring all of our know a little bit of somethings to the table, we'll all eat good and be empowered over what they put out there to blind us. You know what I mean? To keep us in
Exactly.
check. So, whether it's reading a book or speaking about an experience or even sharing a laugh every now and then, that's very important because, okay, like my mood now, I'm really, really into what's going to be read tonight and talk about it in a different way as if it's a daytime, So,
Yes. Yes.
talk to me.
Talk to you. I'm excited. I mean, I read the rest of it like I said I would. And
Hmm.
like we just talked about it briefly, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm just wondering how many of us are going to see some aspects of ourselves, in this whole thing.
Well, when it comes to things on this level, we may
Mm-hmm.
not be the total type. And we say, well, what is a type? It's almost like looking at the color wheel, where you go from red and orange and blue and green and purple. But there's so many unique colors, especially when you get into coding, like the
Right.
HTML codes. And one HTML code, a millionth of a millimeter over, when you move that little thing, and it looks purple. You take one purple, there's another purple, but it's legally a completely different color that the naked eye can't see. If you look at the
Right.
color and say, oh, that's red, you know how many reds there are? You know how many
Mm-hmm.
blues there are? You know how many
Mm-hmm.
greens there are? So with this particular section of the book, they're talking about certain particular colors, certain
Right.
particular people that fall on the scale because you can have different traits. You can have multiple traits of this or a combination of that. So it's not really like you fit this one and you're
Right.
everything. But
Right.
you will find possibly that in each particular type or one of them, you say, hey, that one aspect of that one type is like me. You see what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
that's what makes this interesting because we may see or get a peek into ourselves by the different types that we talk about here. You see? So
Exactly.
you let me know when you're ready and we will start.
I am ready. I think we have enough people here that are ready.
Yeah,
Whoever's
yeah,
here is
yeah.
who's interested. Hi, Ayala. Hi, Richie. Hi, Indigo King. Hi, Michael, Julia. Is there anyone else? Eileen. Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you all for being here. I know y'all were waiting anxiously, and we weren't going to disappoint. Not at
Oh
all. Hi,
no, oh no.
Reese. Did I say Naya? Hi, Naya. Um, yes, we were not going to disappoint. So,
No, it's not gonna happen
Brother
tonight.
Lance, Sir
And we're on it
Lance.
this time these
Yes,
days. You know, there's a
sir.
lot of good energy circulating around, a lot of good changes happening,
Yes,
ascensions. So,
yes.
you know,
Hi,
my big
Creative
thing when I
Speaks.
put this
Mm-hmm.
when I put this banner together, I was like,
Yes.
okay, is this picture a little too risque? You know how YouTube does me. And I'm like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, come on, she got the lingerie on. You can see the little part that's covering the crack right there. And it's nothing that's like really, yeah. So I said, let me
Honey,
roll
let me
with it.
tell
The
you
time went
something.
down
I just said honey, but you know, you get the drift. Um, I
anyway.
just saw a yoga pose just now.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh God, yeah, they really
Listen.
push it with those, with the legs open
Oh,
all the way,
thank you,
like
Richie.
come feast.
Richie says my voice is so soothing. Oh dear, thank you.
Yes, it is.
I don't hear it.
It's your
But
voice. You won't hear it
I
when a
know, I
beautiful
know.
woman lives in a town where there's no mirrors. She can't
Yeah,
see herself, so she has to trust in what is said, right? So
that's
that's what it
true.
is.
That's true. Yes, I saw a yoga pose, Brother Lance. I mean, listen, listen, listen. There was just nothing left to the imagination except for the little
Of
slit,
course.
you know, I mean, wide
Hmm.
open.
Hmm.
And now, how does
And they're
that work?
seriously teaching about yoga. You
And
know, right? But that's what I'm saying. They're seriously teaching about yoga.
they're
You
teaching
know.
about tantric yoga. Hey,
As
mm,
in tantric
yes,
sex, right?
as in tantric
Nia
sex.
Long, you're in Ghana in May and you're coming back in October. We'll be waiting for you.
Oh, that's lovely. Wow.
Let the countdown begin.
Okay, Indigo King, you did your meditations. Nice. Did anyone that was on the morning show this morning, did anyone go to PDF Drive and download the book? Just asking. Did anyone go to pdfdrive.com and download the book so you could sort of, you know, look through the PDF file and see, you know, follow along? It was chapter 12 that we were talking about. So I'm hoping somebody comes in and says, yes, I downloaded the book because I did give you all the link, you know.
Hmm.
Hi, John. How you doing? Miss you too. Um, Hey, Sunkissed. I better stop because I'm gonna be saying hello to
Sunkissed.
everybody. How you doing, sweetie?
This is the hello show.
This is the hello show with Empress Elegy and Sir Lance Scurv. Oh, Lance, you should start calling yourself Sir Lance.
Well, I mean, people used to call me that
I
years ago, and I had
know.
a van, a dollar van in Jamaica, Queens, on Suction Boulevard that said Sir Lance across the back. So if anybody ever hears this and say, "Wait a second, that's him," I know him, and that's where a whole lot of my stories came from. Just being out there in the street, South Jamaica, Queens. So it's like all my life, it's always been something to be able to have a story to walk away with. So
Yes.
that's why it's like that. All my life, it's like I had like 8 lifetimes worth of stories, and
Right.
each of those lifetimes were fast, not fast drugs, fast crime, or anything like that. Just being around situations
Mm-hmm,
and a
mm-hmm.
ton of stories that I want to share. I mean, I have to have 5 lifetimes to actually share all of them, so that's why I have to keep on rolling with it. You know what I mean? So
Right, right,
that's where it
right.
stands.
Hi, KY. Yes, you finally made a live. See, I called out your name, so you don't even have to wonder. Do you want me to send the link again? It's just pdfdrive.com, Creative Speaks. pdfdrive.com. The name of the book is The Laws of Human Nature. I'll write the name of the book in the chat.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, so this way, all right, let me see if I can spell. Okay, I spelled it correctly. You know how it is when you're trying to act like you're a typist.
You said act.
Yes, yes. I'm a two-finger typist.
I don't know what I am. I just get the job done, but I'm not a, I do it pretty quick too. I'm like that dog that has like one broken leg, but I'm running faster than the other dogs. Even though I got one leg jacked up, lifted up, I've learned to run on it. So I can take two fingers and work wonders with it.
All right, guys, I sent you what it is, pdfdrive.com, and the chapter is chapter 12 once you download the book. And you'll be fascinated with that PDF drive, because just about every book that, you don't want to pay money for, you can download it. Oh, I can imagine, Sunkist. I know you're tired. Oh my God. Moving. I hate moving. I hate moving with a passion. Hi, Miko. What's up? Yes, Julia. Yes, Julia, he did. Yes, yes, yes. All right, we need to get going, guys. So just copy the link, copy the information. Brother Lance, are you
Yes, I'm
there?
here.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Ready
Let's
and waiting.
rock and roll. Yes, indeed.
Okay. Let me hit this link out. Send down on Telegram. Here it comes. There'll be a few other things that I send out, but we're gonna do it.
All
Yeah,
right.
like I said, we're gonna take our time. This is like a good meal at a five-star restaurant. Let me know if I'm breaking up. Let me know if I hear sound clear. So we're gonna take our
Listen,
time and
I'm
enjoy
almost
every.
afraid to tell you how good you sound right now.
Oh my God! Oh my
Oh
God!
my God. I
The
can't
perfect cure for a
say.
midlife crisis.
I know. See, we start
Boy,
already. We haven't even gone 10 minutes. We start already.
I know, right? We're already starting that crazy after midnight stuff, right?
Behave yourself.
It's
You're
midnight
welcome,
where I am.
Julia. I know. All right, let's
Okay,
delve.
here we go.
Let's delve.
And
Yeah.
at first, earlier today, we were speaking about um, the different parts of ourselves that we don't acknowledge, that are not that are buried, that we don't acknowledge, but when we fall in love, they come out because
Yeah.
we repress them. And we spoke about from this book, and we added on our own stories, how our relationship and our relationships with our parents, namely the opposite sex,
Mm-hmm.
has an effect on us as we get older. And that was the first example of us dealing with the opposite sex, of course, in a non-sexual way, but it affects us when we run into someone who
Right.
kind of matches what we were given, or what we weren't given by
Right.
that parent. So,
Right.
it goes both ways. So it could be the son and his relationship with his mother. She could have been a very nurturing person. She could have been a very loving person. And that affected him in a good way and sometimes in a bad way, depending on his makeup. She
Right.
could have been nurturing, but he could have taken it as being someone who's smothering. So
Right.
maybe he might meet a woman later on down the line who is very good for him and nurturing, and he runs away from her, and she can't figure out why he doesn't want to be bothered when she has these good qualities. But he may crave the opposite and want the bad girl. I'm not going to say any woman is bad, but the one who's out there, who's a little wilder, might be a phase,
Mm-hmm.
might be, he might be attracted to her because he didn't get any of that from his mother.
Right.
See, and maybe he can run toward the nurturer.
Right.
A young lady may have a father who was strict but loving, but he might have been timid to the world. Maybe he didn't have enough bad boy in him. And then
Yes.
maybe she can
Yes.
grow up and crave what he didn't give her, or crave
Yes.
what he did, or a combination.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we can have romantic connections with different personality types, but it's that one that activates that subconscious yearning, that's the one that gets us going. So sometimes you'll have a friend and you say, I don't know what they see in this person. And they go
Right.
for them, and this guy's a bum. He's not working. He has no ambition. He had a bad breakup with his former girlfriend. I think he put his hands on her. But this woman who has everything going for her goes for him because he does it for her. And it's not just in the bedroom. It's just something about his makeup, the chemical makeup, the makeup of his personality, how he affects her.
Right.
And when we do, and they said it early like that, but when we do fall in love, all bets are off. The
Right.
rational mind goes right out the window. You see
Right.
what I mean? Things that we thought our friends would project or be in this new relationship, they acted like a total ass. Like, what's wrong with you, man? Why this person got you going crazy? You walked away from the other ones, but this one you snuck and you're stalking them and you're breaking out the windows, spray paint. They call, what are you doing?
Yep.
You got too much to lose.
Right. Because they
You
lost
see what I
their
mean?
natural mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Yeah, yes, no, I did read your email and I answered you during the show, and I said as soon as the next slot opens up, we'll throw you on in. It's not a problem. I just right now with all the things going on with the channel, I have to watch and even probably reduce the number of moderators because there are hackers out there who can get in through a person who's a moderator to get to the channel. So that's a weird thing going on. I don't like to talk about those things publicly. It might make you more of a target. So no, you if there's whatever next one is going to be, you're it. So don't worry about that. We got you. But and I didn't. I'm just looking at the chat room now because I'm looking down at the book.
Right.
And for some reason, I'm having this urge to cough, and the reason being, I can figure out I took my shirt off and I'm still a little sweaty, even though it's hot over here.
Right.
So I don't know.
Right.
I
Right.
might do that every now and then, but I'm over the flu.
That's okay.
So
That's
anyway,
okay. Yeah.
jumping into this, jumping into. You had something you want to say?
Yeah, I was going to say real quick, anybody who downloads the book or if you buy the book and you're interested, but after
Let
we,
me grab my towel while you say that. Just give me a second.
no problem. At the beginning of chapter 12, there's the law of rigidity, and that's written in italics, and that basically just explains the masculine and feminine gender roles. And then below that, there's a story, and it's called Authentic Gender. It is such a fascinating story. It really is. It's it's inspiring, and it's also, it makes you aware of how you can fall into that trap that can take you off your course. Like Brother Lance was saying, it takes you out of your natural self, because you fall for someone who you think has all the qualities that you're looking for, and it just takes you away, and you get lost. So if you get it, we're skipping around to the pertinent pieces, but this is also very, 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 very interesting. Yes. And so now we're going to really be talking about the gender projections that Brother Lance spoke about. So, yes.
I'm shooting this over to a couple of people.
Can we call in? Miko wants to know if you're doing a call in, Brother Lance.
Of course. We'll shoot the link. We'll drop the link right here if you want to come on in. And let me get this link. Of course, Miko. We'd love to have you in here.
Yeah.
You are the show also. And we'll open it up for others too. And, we're going to read first if you want to come on in. There's not a call in right now with the phone, but you just hit the link.
Right.
And, you hit the link and you'll be right on in. And you'll be in the backstage area, and I'll just let you on in. So whenever you're ready to come on in, We're going to read. We'd love to have your input, just have you here. And whoever else wants to come in, but just remember first, we're going to be reading a lot first, and then we'll just have one big discussion.
Right.
So we're welcoming everybody to come on in when we do. The link is there. Save the link, or if you ask me again later on, whoever else wants to say, hey, give me the link, boom, you can come on in. I think we can have up to 10 people in here, so that might make for a lot of interesting. And who else hears me buffering? Because over here it just seems like everything is cool on my side, so I don't. It may be my internet.
It's fine.
Your
it's
internet.
fine. I think it's really the internet. And guys, if you do come in, please mute yourself until you have something to say, or Brother Lance opens it up for
Well, I have to open it up anyway when they come in.
Right.
When the time of the whole group. But just when you do come in, when we do put the link out again, just make sure don't have loud TVs on. Don't, just, hey, what's going on, man? A lot of people don't figure that. And then we still tell them and they still do it, So That's one of the rules. But I have something set up too where we can kind of remind people that's how it's going to go. So I'm going
Right.
to start this right now.
Yes, please.
Okay, here we go. Gender projection types. Although there are infinite variations, below you will find 6 of the more common types of gender projections. You must use this knowledge in 3 ways. First, you must recognize in yourself any tendencies toward one of these forms of projection. This will help you understand something profound about your earliest years and make it much easier for you to withdraw your projections on other people. Second, you must use this as an invaluable tool for gaining access to the unconscious of other people, to seeing their anima and animus in action. And just to brush up, the anima is the male side, the animus
Mm-hmm.
is the female side. And
Right.
that's the root you that even you don't even know about.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Possibly, right?
Right.
And finally, you must be attentive to how others will project unto you their needs and fantasies. Keep in mind that when you are the target of other people's projections, the temptation is to want to live up to their idealization of you,
Mm-hmm.
to be their fantasy. That's very hard to do, and
That's
that's
very
really a
hard.
setup.
Yes.
You get caught up in their excitement and you want to believe you are as great, strong, or empathetic as they imagine. Without realizing it, you begin to play the role they want you to play. You become the mother or the father figure they crave. Inevitably, however, you will come to resent this. You
Mm.
cannot be yourself. You are not appreciated for your true qualities. Better to be aware of this dynamic before it entraps you. Oh, I want to talk about that part so
Man,
bad.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Because if
Is
we
that
have to do a
something?
part 3 on this thing, we listen, man, we're gonna go deep
We're
into
going to
these
do a part
things.
1,000, all this stuff. We're going to go through this whole book.
Yes, 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 yes. Go ahead. Talk about
Yeah.
that.
Well, the whole thing about it's not even about being a pleaser, but many of us, when we receive this attention from others, especially early on, as the relationship builds or you first meet someone
Mm-hmm.
and there's a spark, and you realize there's something going on between the both of you that can potentially go to a relationship, or even if you don't want it to be a full-blown relationship, it could be a situationship, it could be whatever. A lot of us, and I've noticed this in many people, and especially in the beginning of something, that whatever you put out there in your discussion, they may want to become. And then now you think you got such a catch. But
Right.
that's the time when you have to be careful, because what you're projecting and
Mm-hmm.
they're morphing into,
Mm-hmm.
that could be straight up to rope you.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to lose out on you, or you may not want to lose out on them. So whatever they put out, you want to live up to, and they're not going to go down the laundry list and say, well, in a woman, like I'm a man speaking to a woman, well, in a woman, I want this, and she's got to be the super freak, and she's got to be the super cook, and she's got to be this person who keeps the house clean, and she has to have a career, and she has to have her own money, and come on. I mean,
Right.
you're not just going
Right.
to fabricate that if you don't have that right away. But you can
Mm-hmm.
fabricate certain characteristics that a person has, or they want in you, or feign it, act like it's going to be that way. And like they said in the book just now, you begin to resent it because you really weren't authentically that. And now you got to jump through hoops that you set for yourself instead of saying, hey, you know what? I don't really have that particular characteristic, but if that's something that you like, or is that something that you got used to, well, I'll try my best to accommodate you without overextending myself. You have to be true to yourself. This is me talking from experience.
Right.
You have to be true to yourself. You can't lie to yourself and bend over backwards to get that man, or the man bend over backwards to appeal to that woman, if you can't keep that thing up and it's not you.
If it's not your
Like me
authentic
now,
self, yes.
I kind of get the feeling that Mrs. Scurv likes when I stay home, because for the last 2 days I haven't gone anywhere. Not to say, oh, I like when you're home, but in contrast to a prior marriage and situation that she was in, her ex-husband was never home and all over the place. Doesn't mean I have to stay home on a leash. But I noticed that when I'm caught up in my work and I'm working all day, like, okay, from the show this morning, on this computer doing what I do. So that's something that I noticed that she probably wouldn't say.
Right.
So that's why they say in this book,
You
as
just
you
dropped
pick
out
up
for a
on this
second
knowledge.
there. You just dropped out for
Oh,
a
okay.
second. So we're going to have to pay
I think
attention.
I might be, yeah, I might be too close to the microphone. Let me pull away from it. Let me see if that helps, because I'm making sure to get my voice like right up on it. But I'll stay on it, but let me just talk a little lower. I don't know if
Right.
that'll work also. But sometimes that, when you really get hyped, it kind of blanks out, like a little
Okay.
burst or something.
Okay.
But
All right.
that's
Go
why they
ahead.
say, and let me know again if it happens.
All
But
right.
this is why they say you have to take this knowledge and use it and digest it and realize it does pertain to you on some level. It may not pertain to you on all levels. Take the good and leave the bad. But it shows how complex the dynamics are of relationships as it pertains to you and your upbringing, and how it's a filter over your eyes when you see someone. You may not see them for who they really are. And then you project something and they may go for it. So as far as I'm concerned, the dysfunction continues. So, it's really amazing. The best thing you can do for a future relationship or a present relationship is to
Yes.
clean yourself and clean your filters and know
Yes.
yourself really good, and meditate on them, because they may not be at that point to actually admit, I'm not going to say flaws, but things about them that are unique because of their
Right.
upbringing. I don't even want to use the word flaws in this, because we're not
Right.
aiming for perfection, because none of us are going to be perfect. And that's
But
what some of us have to understand.
right. And this is where, not jumping from one relationship to the other comes into play, because all you're
Ah,
going to do is repeat the same thing over and over again. If you don't stop and take stock of what it is that's causing, these relationships to go haywire or to go down the tube, and if you see a pattern where, you're dating or you're getting involved with the same individual, the personality trait, and it's not working out, step back. Step back,
yeah,
look into
yeah.
yourself, find out, see what it is that is attracting you, because sometimes we don't even recognize what it is that is attracting us to the individual. We're
hmm
not
hmm
seeing that. And I think this is why
And
this
we have to study that. Yeah,
yeah,
we have to
this
find out
chapter
why.
is good for this. This chapter is perfect because it's going to cause a lot of us in here to start paying attention to what it is that we're attracted to in the person that we are dealing with, or potential mates or whatever, you know?
And in essence, it frees us up, and it may make us understand more about ourselves, so they can't slap their shackles of
On you.
control on us if they happen to be
Exactly.
that way. You
Exactly.
see what I mean? So
Yes.
that's very important. So here's one of the types. And
Right.
again, some of the types are women in the book, and some of the types are men.
Hmm.
But understand that if it's about this next one is about the woman, right?
Hmm.
I think so, right? But
Well,
we'll
it's a,
see.
it's a
Just
man that
understand it's interchangeable.
right. It's the
Right.
type of man that a woman is attracted to.
Okay, here we go. The devilish romantic. For the woman in this scenario, the man who fascinates her, often older and successful, might seem like a rake, the type who cannot help but chase after young women. But he is also romantic. When he's in love, he showers the woman with attention. She decides she will seduce him and become the target of his attention. She will play to his fantasies. How can he not want to settle down with her and reform himself? She will bask in his love, but somehow he is not as strong, masculine, or romantic as she had imagined. He is a bit self-absorbed. She does not get the desired attention, or it does not last very long. He cannot be reformed and leaves her. See, this is so intense what we just read. This is just one paragraph. See what I mean? But
Right.
The thing is, she decides she's going to seduce him and become the target of his attention. She'll play to his fantasies. How could he not want to settle down with her and reform himself? Now, this is something that I understand very well in real life in the days that I was a little more friskier in my younger years. And there were many women who saw the good qualities that I had. And there were many women who said, well, you know, he admitted that he keeps the company of different women at different times. He made no qualms about that. But I'm going to be the one to rope him in and give him everything that he wants on those levels. And he'll settle down and reform himself. You can't change anyone unless they're willing to change or want to change. And it's not a matter of them refusing to change, but you see how this woman catered to his fantasies. Now, we can read between the lines, whatever those things may be as far as the fantasies are concerned. We're adults, we know what those things might entail. But she figures she's going to go out of her way and become something else, to be that something else for him.
Right.
Thinking that he's going to go, oh, I'm going to get all the attention, but he's too self-absorbed and he leaves her anyway. Ladies, that's a big lesson. Never overextend yourself for a man.
Exactly.
Okay? Remember to read on the next chapter. I just wanted to say that because I saw so much in that. Okay? This is often the projection of women who had rather intense, even flirtatious relationships with the father. That's kind of sick. Such fathers often find their wives boring, and the young daughter more charming and playful. They turn to the daughter for inspiration. The daughter becomes addicted to their attention and adept at playing the kind of girl that daddy wants.
My God.
It gives her a sense of power. It becomes her lifelong goal to recapture this attention and the power that goes with it. Any association with the father figure will spark the projecting mechanism, and she will invent or exaggerate the man's romantic nature. Ain't that something?
Ain't that sick?
It'll spark the projecting mechanism. It's not necessarily saying that, when they said flirtatious, that was too strong a word. I'd like not to think about that. Not that they're having sex or whatever, but she takes the place or overrides
the mother,
the gravitational pull of the mother.
Yeah.
And this is why you have that dynamic also where if mommy won't do it,
daddy
I will.
Say yes.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about nothing sexual. Now, I'm going to add on into this that sometimes the father will play a role if he is sick like that in his mind and manipulate that daughter and give her what she wants as far as attention to lure her into those indecent types of unions, because the daughter is competing with the mother, and those who actually get involved that way in a budding age, they're playing a dangerous game, because that's not right, that's not proper, that's very indecent. But I can see where that dynamic would spill over into that.
Yes.
But that's not what this is all about.
Right.
I'm just saying that it can go on and on and on where it becomes that. And there are some sick situations out there. We're not talking about the little victim girl where, oh, little girl, when I'm 7 years old, took advantage of me. I'm talking about one of those young ladies who know damn well what she's doing at 16 and 17 years old. And she wants to outdo the father. Outdo the mother. And because she has her resentments going on with the mother, and the mother may be projecting onto her that because the mother's physical body might be sagging. She might have had an illness. She may not be in the mood all the time. And it's not just a sexual thing. You see what I mean? Maybe the father's not providing the way that the mother wanted, and she's disappointed in him. So she's withdrawn. So the daughter is there to fill in the gap, because she's going to take advantage of that because of their personal battle between mother and daughter, which has nothing to do with the father. He's just a pawn. So he's going to take any attention he can get. And because that father might be resentful of the mother, his wife, for not giving him the attention, well, I'm going to parade around with my daughter. I'm going to take her out to the movies, and she's going to dress real sexy. Nothing's going on between us, but it's the same. It is like it's an emotional sexual connection. You see what I mean? So we have to really I want everybody who's listening to this stuff. I'm not the guru. I'm just reading this stuff and talking about some things I've seen in life. And there's a situation I know of certain white people that we know of that I won't say, and I don't care if they're listening anyway, because I'm not going to say their name, but it's that dynamic going on. It is that exact dynamic going on, and it's very much real. Okay, so let me just go on and read some more.
Right.
Okay, a prime example of this type would be Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Jack Bouvier, her father, adored his two daughters, but Jacqueline was his favorite. Jack was devilishly handsome and dashing. He was a narcissist obsessed with his body and the fine clothes that he wore. He considered himself macho, a real risk taker, but underneath the facade, he was in fact quite feminine in his taste and totally immature. He was also a notorious womanizer. He treated Jackie more like a playmate and lover than a daughter. For Jackie, he could do no wrong. She took perverse pride in his popularity with women. Ain't there something? In the frequent fights between her mother and father, she always took his side. Compared to the fun-loving father, the mother was prudish and rigid. Spending so much time in his company, even after her parents' divorce, and thinking of him constantly, Jackie deeply absorbed his energy and spirit. As a young woman, she took all of her attention to older, powerful, and unconventional men, with whom she could recreate the role she had played with her father.
Yes.
Always a little girl in need of his love, but always quite flirtatious. And she was continually disappointed in the men she had chosen. John F. Kennedy was the closest to her ideal, for in so many ways he was just like her father in looks and in spirit. Kennedy, however, would never give her the attention she craved. He was too self-absorbed. He was too busy having affairs. Okay, I'm going to let you in. I don't know who this is. Oh, that's Miko.
It's Miko.
Yes, Miko. Yeah, I'm going to let her on in. Okay. Device is not connected. It's something more you got to do. I don't know what it is, but I see you there. We won't see you anyway if you come on in full force because we have the banner up.
She needs to connect her mic and camera.
Yeah. If you're on the phone, you got to open something up, at least your mic. I don't know if you're type into the chat room. I don't know if you're on a computer or on a phone. If you're on a computer, you're going to have to open up the mic there. And you don't have to open the camera because we're not showing faces tonight. So let us know in the chat room because I see you, but I can't let you in until you connect up where we can hear you or see you. Okay. All right. So now let me get back to that part.
Okay.
Here it is. Yeah. I'm going to start from where I left off. Kennedy, however, would never give her the attention she craved. He was too self-absorbed. He was too busy having affairs with other women. He was not really the romantic type. She was continually frustrated in this relationship, but she was trapped in this pattern, later marrying Aristotle Onassis, an older, unconventional man of great power who seemed so dashing and romantic, but who would treat her horribly and cheat on her continuously.
Wow.
Continually. Ain't that something? Women in this scenario have become trapped by the early attention paid to them by their father. They have to be continually charming, inspiring, and flirtatious to elicit that attention later on. Their animus is seductive, but with an aggressive masculine edge, having absorbed so much of the father's energy. But they are in a continual search for a man who does not exist. If the man were completely attentive and tirelessly romantic, they would grow bored with him. He would seem to be too weak. They are secretly drawn to the devilish side of their fantasy man and to the narcissism that comes with it. Women trapped in this projection will grow resentful over the years about how much energy they have to expend playing to men's fantasies and how little they get in return. The only way out of the trap for such women is to see the pattern itself, to stop mythologizing the father, and to focus instead on the damage he has caused by the inappropriate attention he paid to them. See, there's
Wow.
repercussions for that later on down the line when you have a relationship like that, with your father, if you're a young girl, that you can write off, oh, it's nothing, I'm just daddy's little girl. Well, maybe you are daddy's little girl, and maybe it could be legit. But past a certain point, you ain't daddy's little girl no more. You're daddy's other wife. And it's
Exactly.
messing your psyche up. You're messing that up because you're now going to look for a man who can replace that, no matter what nobody says. And I'm not issuing a challenge or saying I know everything, but to me, I am sold on the thought and the so-called theory, which to me is a fact, that the first example of womanhood or manhood that you had in your life sets the pace and sets the template for all your relationships later on,
I
because you are the
agree.
most impressionable at that age, and you're looking for that. Even if you're not aggressively looking for that, your eye is open for that, because that is the ultimate for you. And again, like I
Right.
said in our morning show, if that sense of normalcy that you had, that consciously you might think is bad, because he's an alcoholic and he beats my mother and he cheats on my mother, makes babies. He may be a good provider as far as money is concerned. So these are the different things that has sunk into your subconscious mind, and is the first example of a man. So although you know and say to yourself, I don't want a man who's an alcoholic, who's going to beat on me and cheat on me and bring me babies and STDs. No, I don't want that. I don't care how much money he makes. But guess what? That might be the very thing that turns you
Yeah,
on. Like I said before, and
exactly.
again, I'm going to use the same example. That's the one that makes you just feel like, come over here and just tear this stuff up. Grab my hair and choke me. Not to choke you to kill you.
Did you
Get
say
that
that
feeling of
this
being on
morning?
power.
Didn't you say
Yes, I
that
did.
this
I'm going to say it again
morning?
because it's appropriate for it. Yes. Hit the link again, Miko. I don't know if you're on a computer or a phone. A phone works just as good. Hit that link again. I don't know if you saw it or you want to see it again. I'll drop it right here again for you. I saw you in the backstage where I can hit it, but you got to be connected. Okay. So, yeah, that's the first impression, male or female. Who your mama was is going to affect the kind of woman you really want. All right. I'm not saying anything sexual, but and who your daddy was, if you're a girl, is going to affect who you are. I'll go a step further. Lesbians, who their daddy was, they may be trying to emulate. Because that was the first example. Whether it was your actual father, you could have grown up with your uncle. That is a prototype. Whatever you grew up with is the prototype.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
Whatever you grew up with is the prototype. That's all I'll say.
This one is gonna be good. Read this one. Mhm.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. Women in this scenario have become trapped. Did I read that part already?
You read that already. But you're down now
Okay.
to the elusive woman of perfection.
Oh, yes. The elusive woman of perfection.
Yes,
Wow.
indeed. Read that
He thinks
quick.
he has found. He thinks he has found the ideal woman. She will give him what he's been missing in his prior relationships. Whether that's something or some wildness, some comfort and compassion, or a creative spark. Although he has had few actual encounters with the woman in question, he could imagine all kinds of positive experiences with her. The more he thinks of her, the more he's certain he cannot live without her. When he talks of this perfect woman, you will notice there's not a lot of concrete detail about what makes her so perfect. If he does manage to forge a relationship, he will quickly become disenchanted. She's not who he thought she was. She misled him.
Hmm.
He then moves on to the next woman to project his fantasy onto. This is a common form of male projection. It contains all the elements he thinks he never got from his mother, never got from the other woman in his life. The ideal mate will haunt his dreams. She will not appear to him in the form of someone he knows. She is a woman fashioned in his imagination, often young, elusive, but promising something great. In real life, certain types of women will tend to trigger this projection. She is usually quite hard to pin down and conforms to what Freud called the narcissistic woman, self-contained, not really needing a man or anybody to complete her. She can be a bit cold at the core and a blank screen upon which men can project whatever they want. Alternatively, she can seem to be a free spirit, full of creative energy, but without a clear sense of her own identity. For men, she serves as a muse, a great spark to their imagination, a lure to loosen up their own rigid mind. The men prone to this projection often had mothers who were not totally there for them. Perhaps a mother expected the son to give her the attention and validation she was not getting from her husband.
Wow.
Because of this reversal, when the boy becomes a man, he feels a great emptiness inside he would constantly need to fill. He cannot exactly verbalize what he wants or what he missed, hence the vagueness of his fantasy. He will spend his life searching for this elusive figure and never settle on a flesh and blood female. It's always the next one who will be perfect. If he falls for the narcissistic type, he will repeat the problem he experienced with his mother, falling for a woman who cannot give him what he wants. His own anima is a bit dreamy, introspective, and moody, which is the behavior he will tend to exhibit when in love.
Wow.
Ain't that something?
Ain't that something?
So I know of a situation where, and it's not a situation, but it's many situations that I've seen. And I'm going to generalize just to make the point. How many of us know that woman who has had failed relationships with men? Not always necessarily her fault. I'm not saying failed like she failed. Maybe she had a hand in it. Maybe she was the major reason. And maybe she had nothing to do with how bad the man treated her. But at the end, the relationship ceased to exist. So she has a child or two. Let's say she has one son. And she was very disappointed in the father of that son. But there's still a connection to that man through that son. The same DNA, the same old memories of when they first got together. Not to say the mother feels some type of erotic connection to the son, but that's proof and that's a piece of the man that she thought she would love forevermore. Now, I'm not reading this, this is me talking off the hip. So as he gets older, into his 10 years old, 12 years old, he hits puberty, and certain things start to happen with him. This is what I've experienced as a man, and I'll tell you why. Because she may feel subconsciously, not that she's looking for him to be a future sex partner, but now this is part of the man that she thought things would work out and it failed, and damn it, no other woman is going to come around and take my man who is my son, but as he gets these good qualities, I'm going to be there to enjoy them. And these demon girls out there ain't going to take you away. So she demonizes relationships. She demonizes that woman who might take that son away, which is a projection or a part of the man in that failed relationship. So she stifles his growth. She keeps him weak just to be under her.
Yeah.
She wants to do everything for him because any sign of strength that he exhibits as a man or a young developing man in puberty and beyond is a threat to her hold on him. And therefore she fears reliving the loss of that man that did her wrong, whose son she has, and she feels that she can mold him to be better than the father, but she wants to reap the emotional benefits of it.
Oh, Eric.
Damn it, I should write my book.
Oh,
I'm just
Eric.
playing.
No, I'm looking at Eric. I feel like that's the same thing he experienced. Oh.
Talk to us.
Me? Talk to you? I think he should come on and talk to you. I mean, you know. Don't show too much emotions here, Eric.
Yeah, so this is the deal.
Yeah.
You as a man step into this dysfunctional union that looks so lovey-dovey because in the outside world, that mother loves her child. And that child is getting everything that he wants from the mother. And it looks to be such a thing that an outside man now who's interested in that mother, he can't fit in
Right.
because she has an emotional bond with the son that's so strong because he represents that man that got away. But she got a piece of his DNA and she ain't letting go. So, like I said, as he gets older and begins to date, any and every woman ain't good enough. She's gonna find a flaw in that woman and be that good friend to protect him, and he will take it that way.
Yeah.
Because those women out there can't love him enough. The only thing they can do is give sex to him.
Right.
But they will never feel the close love and intimacy and nurturing because that mother took up that spot and won't let it go.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
Exactly.
And so me now, as a single guy I was a romantic guy in my teens, but I did a lot of crazy things, and I was a romantic guy for many years. And there were times when I would run across a nice young lady who may have had a son. And it's something about the son and not the mother who has the daughter, because the son represents that man. The daughter can't represent the man. She may love the daughter.
Right.
But when she has that kind of union with the son because of her past that she will never tell you about because she doesn't even realize the dynamic of what's going on, you're ass out as a man looking for that relationship with her because you don't fit. It's just that you're a placeholder.
Is it that
she
you
really
don't
doesn't invest?
fit? Is it that you don't fit? I mean, think about it. You know, sometimes women wind up with men who are distant or not engaging, right? And like some of it said here in the first one, the woman isn't getting that love and attention. And so when she has a boy child and that boy child starts to blossom into a man, naturally he loves his mother because, you know, she's been nurturing and raising him. Now she's taking it in an inappropriate, not meaning that she's being inappropriate,
sexual, but just a little
right?
bit,
Yeah, she's now projecting exactly her needs. It's not even so much desires, it's her need. It's her need for that love, for that attention. And because this little boy who was always her little mommy, I love you, mommy, blah 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 blah,
always there and needs her.
Exactly.
And
She
guaranteed to
always
be there
wants
at
that.
least for a certain amount of years. So look, and you're right. I'm just talking about that one who uses that child, who uses that boy, and she doesn't trust opening up to have a full relationship because she already has a pseudo relationship with her son, whose father left her and did her wrong. And it's just something about seeing that little boy, and then she'll say things like, oh, you walk just like your father. And she's not mad at the little boy. She's not even mad at the memory of the father. Now, we have a lot of women who are mad at the memory of the father that did them wrong, or you know, the man that did them wrong and left the child with them. I can't stand you. You look like your daddy. That's a whole other thing. What I'm saying is that one who uses that boy on an emotional level and has turned him into her man.
Yeah.
So now you have a man who comes around interested, and she will be open for it on paper, but really and truly at the deepest root, she's saturated with the promise of that little boy.
Yeah.
See? So now the little boy feels threatened now.
Yeah.
There's another man coming around. He's a threat to take my mama from me. He'll question her. Why do you want to date my mother? Why do you want to marry my mother? Because he knows subconsciously that he might have been getting a little more than what he should, but he took it. Why not? She cooks every meal for him. She pampers him beyond belief. Even into ages when he should be doing for himself, she has filled the gap of being wife and mother, everything except the sexual. And with the both of them, the opposite sex is a threat. Because
Exactly.
he got used to the treatment, and she got used to always having a young man in her life from when he was a boy who was the exact DNA of that father.
Right.
And that's something she can't shake. And just think, and we're going to read on, but just think how many of us have been affected by people in similar scenarios, or even if it wasn't similar, something so dysfunctional that we took it on the surface and didn't go deeper, which means before you get involved with anybody, you better do some serious investigative work into their past and do not expect them to present to you the real dysfunctions of their past, some more, some less. But I will say this, we all have a level of dysfunction in our early years, and certain things that are not untangled like that knot, that ball of yarn. That even if you had a nice house and your parents never fought, and the daddy never cheated on the mother never cheated on the daddy, and everybody had money and all this stuff, there are still dynamics of things that, like some people say, generational curses. No, I'm not going to say curse, but there's certain things that make us the way we are, even when their good qualities can go out in the world and become something that's not good because we can't deal with somebody else who may have issues of their own. So you have two people together
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it, some trying to
Mm-hmm.
make it more than others, with their own hidden, buried dysfunctions and twisted viewpoints because of the dysfunctional upbringing. Dysfunction is a strong word. It don't mean that you were crazy or that you
Right.
was
Right.
traumatized. It can be
Right.
something slight. Why? And we have to ask ourselves. And like I said, I'm taking my time with this one tonight. I don't care how long it goes. I know I have to get up and do the morning show and everything and set
Mm,
things up, but we're gonna have some fun tonight. But my thing
mhm.
is that we need to, like I said earlier in the show, it's our responsibility to take care and identify the things and untangle the things that are inside of us.
Right.
I used to read everything. And I had an old girlfriend who always bought Cosmopolitan magazine.
Right.
And I always knew that all knowledge was good knowledge. So, she left in the bathroom and I'm sitting on the toilet, I'm reading. I'm like, this is good. I can take this and read. So I started reading every month too. And it's always where find the man of your dreams, the sexy
Mm-hmm.
cologne, the sexy
Yes.
perfume that he could never refuse. A passionate night wearing this lingerie would drive him crazy and keep him. It's always something external. But what I noticed all the time was never look within yourself. And this goes for the man too now. I'm not just getting on women. This is an equal thing here, that we
Yes.
need to go into ourselves in our own meditation and be brutally honest with ourselves and go in with that term that I love to say, with surgical precision,
Precision. Exactly.
because that's the best way to make your relationship better, or potential relationship. When you need time by yourself and you don't have anybody, stop jumping from one relationship to the next. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
it may feel good now because you're in a new situation. But when the old demons settle down inside of you, and those hangups and those twisted things, how the hell you know this new person is going to deal with you on those levels? They don't know
Exactly.
you.
Exactly.
They don't know you. Did you talk? Did you get to know each other? Did you get to know the upbringing? Do you have the sense to identify what's
Mm-hmm.
inside of them as a red flag or something good or something that needs to be altered in a certain way? So these people who I just broke up, and now you want to rebound, and 2 weeks later you just say to yourself, well, this is just for physical release. I kind of like the guy, or I kind of like the girl, and we have an understanding, but it turns into something because every time you lay in the bed with somebody, you're bonding with them.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
You see, so be careful. And so when you see a person who can't tell you their romantic timeline, or you find out that they went from this one to this one to this one to that one, they got a lot of damn work to do that they're avoiding looking
Mm-hmm.
within.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always the next person's fault why you broke up. So I know of a situation where the man done left the wife and jumped and ran with the young girl, and you think that's gonna work out? She don't
Mm-hmm.
know you. You don't know you. You're not even admitting to the things that are jacked up with you,
Right.
but you claim to be so righteous and conscious. But we put on a facade that's usually diametrically opposed to what's
To who
really
we
on the
really are.
inside. And
Exactly.
oftentimes, we have a lot of older men that are so immature in their real development, not the gorilla suit they put on and project to the world with a little bass in their voice, but they're so immature that they go to the young girl not because her orifices are a little tighter and have a little more grip, or that stuff has a little more shelf life, like people want to say on the outside. It's because they're sinking to the level of what they really are. So when you have a 50-year-old man go after a 20-year-old girl, it's because his mind can only handle that of a
That
20-year-old
age.
boy.
Exactly.
You see
Exactly.
what I mean? You
Exactly.
can't deal in a relationship with a grown, mature, balanced woman who understands life, and you can't bring your immature bullshit to that mature woman because she ain't going for it.
Exactly.
You can't play those games with her. And there are a lot of wise young women out here, so I'm not knocking you and saying because you're a certain age you don't know, but you just don't have the intuition developed because of the time spent in the game. If you're 25 years old, you're 7 years over 18 years old, you might have been or had some sense at 18 because your women would mature more a little more, but that don't mean jack. You got to put in some time dealing with what you're dealing with. If you were a 60-year-old man, how the hell are you going to be 25 and know how to navigate that man who's been screwing around before you were born? And like, you know what my rule is. When, as a man, right? If you a young lady, now I'm married, but let's just say I was single. If you were born, the day you were born, and I know the day you were born, and that day you were born, in those days, I was having orgasms and having sex. We can't deal. We can't deal. Oh, when you were born, I was married. When you were born, oh, I had a bunch of girlfriends. No, if I was FUCKing when you were born, we can't deal. We can't deal.
That's right.
No, we can't deal. No, we can't do it. Let me just continue reading on. I just went off on a rant.
That's okay.
You gotta guide me back to where I was because I'm
You are okay.
I'm always coming off.
Hang on a second. You are now on page 344, The Lovable Rebel.
Okay, did I read the last chapter on 343?
Let's see. He fails to.
Oh yeah. I did. I saw a word that reminded me. Okay, we have another type here we're gonna read about.
Yes.
We have another type. Boy, I gotta say, for me, being intuitive all through my younger years, a little earlier maybe, because I had a lot more experiences that weren't just hopping into bed or whatever have you. But even when I did that, I used to think deep, like, why am I here? Why does this grown woman have me in her bed? What's missing in her life?
See, that's what I. Oh, didn't I say that to you on many occasions?
Tell me again.
I'm not telling you again. I'm not reminding you. I always say to you, what the hell is it? What is wrong with these women, these older women, that they are fascinated with you? Because I always said it's more or less the same thing that you just said. If you are younger than my son, it can't work.
Right.
You can't be younger than none of my children. None.
Exactly. And that's why, and I didn't understand it then like I understand it now, because all things that apply for what I use as an example for that older man and the young woman, it still applies that way with slightly different dynamics. But, and even the things that I don't struggle with, but there's things that I wonder about. And we've talked about it. And I'll tell it, like, I had a wonderful relationship with my mother. I had a wonderful relationship with my father. But what was the need in me to be loved? I mean, I was loved by them. I never felt no abandonment. I always had them. They gave me the utmost attention. But I always had this need on this, I'm not going to say just romantic love, but to be wanted.
Yeah.
And it was always an older woman or somebody slightly older. And I wanted to fill her voids, even if it was just like a fling or something quick. That was the whole dynamic of the whole thing. So I always, to this day, say to myself, why was I like that?
Right.
And I'm off the market now, I guess, but I guess I'm still like that. I'm just not on the market.
I wonder why.
No, but no matter what, we have to always we have to always look within ourselves, because there's always been a polishing up and rewiring that we can do in ourselves. But I used to question then, while it was all fun and games, like I said, I used to love the whole, I'm not going to say sneakiness of it all, but it's like, wow, she wants me. That was it. I don't know why.
You
And
were
I
just
don't credit.
fascinated with it.
Yeah. And you see the person, and it was always someone or a type who was professional, who you wouldn't think was like that.
Right, right,
I
right.
love that. The ones my age, well, you want to come over and just come over, we have a little fun or whatever. Or you can come over later on. I don't. Why you stand me up? I didn't want that. I wanted the ones who established and who had that, and that's why like a lot of church ladies took advantage of me in the story that I told you about the 3 church ladies, right? So that was okay because I like to see them go from that facade, and it was my little secret of what we were doing. See what I mean? And the more way out they were, was more of a thrill for me because I keep my mouth shut. That's one thing. I always kept my mouth shut. And I would see them go back into the world as this well-respected person who worked for a politician, or this well-respected a member of a church family, or this well-respected person who just worked and had the respect, and they didn't know. That's why I was always going through back doors and leaving out before daybreak.
So how much
Or if I
respect did you have
stayed,
for them at the end of the day? I'm just saying.
well, it wasn't really like I don't respect them. It wasn't that I was fascinated with them. For some reason, it was me who started to feel bad about myself.
Really?
Because, yeah, in that. And I would douse myself with the next one or more. See, because it validated me. But my own personal fascination in this is that I always had high self-esteem from young. It was instilled in me. But I always, the very thing that made me feel bad eventually was the very thing I liked. You can use me. I could be your boy toy after dark. I'll perform these acts on you and make you feel so good.
So,
And at the end of the day, I felt bad because nobody loved me. I did it to myself.
so
No, I'm still trying to figure this out.
what were you missing in your life? Because you had
That's what
good
I'm trying to say,
parents.
because I wasn't missing
What the
nothing.
hell were you missing? Because it's so
I
funny.
don't know.
It's so funny.
Yeah. I'm going to use myself as an example.
As I was reading this, right, and I'm going through the list, and I'm looking at myself, I'm trying to find myself in there, can't really find myself in there, because, if you find a part of yourself, you can't put the relationship with the parent because you didn't have parents that would cause you to exemplify those traits. You know what I'm saying?
And let me just check out the chat room over here, man. Somebody's being very disrespectful. I didn't notice it. I'm sorry, Julia. But we don't tolerate that here. And this Khalif clown is out. You have no right to go tell somebody to take a hike when I don't even know who you are. If I did know who you are, you're gonna respect.
Who did he tell to take a hike? I didn't even see that. Why?
And Julia, you have the right to cuss him out all you want because he violated you. But I saw, but I was so much into what I was saying that it was like a delayed reaction. So anybody that sees anything going on or something, just
and
type it all caps or something.
I just looked away. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I was so caught up, and I'm like, wait a second. Right, because she was agreeing with me. Even if Julia didn't agree with me in a respectful way, it would never be a problem if someone disagrees with me. But she agreed with me, and this clown came in talking about, oh, so take a hike. How you gonna come in? No, go to one of them other drama-filled shows. We don't do that here.
Exactly.
Because I swear, if it was something personal, I wouldn't be sheepish. I'd bust them in the mouth and throw them out the window. We getting down on something intellectual here. We enjoying ourselves, and there's always some low vibrational clown. You know why? Because we read something that reminded him of him that's not so good.
Exactly.
A man like that would attack somebody. Yeah, I see that, Julia, and I'm sorry it was a delayed reaction. I'm not going to let nobody come in here and walk over nobody like that. But see, people like that don't like to see conversations like that.
Right.
What he's probably going to do now is surf some porn with that jar of Vaseline and play with himself because he's only on one level, which having an orgasm is not a bad thing, but he's frustrated because it ticked off something in him. And by her agreeing, if you notice, right? If you notice, he didn't attack me. He
Right.
attacked her for agreeing. So
Right.
that shows me that something in his life,
He's out
maybe
of
he was violated
kilter.
by a masculine energy, and the woman who agreed, or maybe he was corrected by a masculine energy, not violated, but corrected righteously. And maybe his mama, who agreed with the father when he got the ass whippings because he was so bad, that reminded, is something in the dynamic of what we were talking about that made him
Mm-hmm.
attack her and
Mm-hmm.
not me. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
always. You don't have to thank me, sister. I love you, and you're gonna be safe here. Right. We don't, and we can debate in the chat room. No, I don't agree. And and those of us know each other, we want to say cold words, whatever. If you had that kind of relationship, because really and
Exactly.
truly, there are different degrees of relationships here on the show. There's some and many who talk with each other over the phone, live near each other, go shopping together. Some people call each other on the phone on this line and talk for 5 hours and have very close relationships. So when you speak and you step on toes, when you come here, you don't know, just treat everybody with
Exactly.
respect.
Exactly. That's
You
right.
understand?
That's right.
Because that's what this platform is all about. I want to forge friendships. I want to bring people together that go beyond their unions, go beyond my natural life. That turns me on. Not no sexual way. I'm just saying I like the idea of that, of using a platform that for the most part, most people take as being paper thin and being real
Mm-hmm.
with it where it affects
Mm-hmm.
people's lives.
Exactly.
I like when people get together and get to know each other and they have a good friendship. Sometimes the qualities are there between both people, male, female, 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 on a legit level, male, male, but it doesn't work out like that. It's just, and then sometimes people get along nice, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to tell me how deep their friendship goes or their connection goes. How many times have I hooked people up? Say, Lance, man, could you give so and so my number? Not on some,
Right.
oh, I want to go to bed with her type tip,
Right.
but she agrees, like, but you can't put the number out here because you don't want to be kook calling as this show stays up online. So I played the go between. Like, you sure you be getting okay, no problem. Or better yet, you want to share information? Send it to me or send it to Empress Elegy.
Exactly.
You see what I mean? And we'll join you all up on a safe level like that. And
And
y'all can use your emails and go back and forth.
we have a corporate email. So if you send it to Lance@LanceScurv.com or EmpressLG@LanceScurv.com, we both get it.
Yes.
We both get
Both
the
get it.
email. So
So if you cuss me out, just know Empress Elegy is going to see it. It's going to come in her thing
you
just the
better
same
believe
exact
it.
minute.
And I'll probably answer you before he does.
Yeah, because I'm slow on that. There's so much coming at me. You know what I mean? I got email addresses from like 16 years ago, 20 years ago, and I'm still going there like, dang. People still send messages to me on that too.
I know. I know.
So just know if you send them naked pictures, Empress Elegy won't see it too.
Yeah.
No, but you're right, Julia. Yeah, and she said, this is a show. Everyone has a right to speak how they
Yes.
feel without the disrespect. Exactly.
Exactly.
How many
No
times have I had gay people on the show and they talk and they say, Lance, look what happened before when I put up the thing. Oh, you should be banned. You're a fraud. Yet we had shows and we're agreeing about the energy and everything like that. I gotta have thick skin to see beyond.
Right.
You understand? So because I know sometimes people may call in their moods or in their emotions or in their feelings, and they may not know me from jack crap. So I got to endure that barrage of blows in the first round to be able to come back later on
And
and
be a
understand.
gentleman that understands the dynamics of people's personalities and get
Yes,
beyond their initial
yes,
reactions.
yes. See, I can be a bully, I can be a tyrant, I can be domineering, but what is the good in it? If you don't like me,
Exactly.
you don't agree with me, I'm not going to take it seriously because my self-esteem is intact. Just getting
Mm-hmm.
back to the subject, I don't know why I was like that.
I don't
It
know
was like
either.
some kind of validation.
And I don't know why.
I don't know why.
I
Oh,
know why. I
why?
don't
I
know
don't know
why.
why.
You're gonna make me want to go play that song now,
For real. Yeah, so
Hold on.
that's one of the things. Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff where you just hum that song where I really wish that we could play music,
I know,
because these
right?
are the
I
times where
know.
you could just drop something in and just, add a little flavor to the whole thing, and then come
Yeah,
back,
yeah. But
you
we'll do
know.
that on the other platform, but or the other channel. Now, this is what we have to do. This is off topic. This is important.
Mm-hmm.
Those other channels I wanted to start, please
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow in the evening sometime, because I know I'm gonna have to jump up and do the morning show. But make
Yes.
me make them channels. There's one I
Okay.
want to do, and I'll put it out there on Human Nature, where we talk about this type of
Hang
stuff
on,
all the
brother
time.
Lance. Let me get my book, because I have to. Us young people,
You gotta write it down.
we gotta write stuff down, because the voice to some degree might sound young, but damn it.
No, you're young. You're young. You're
All
young.
right. So you want to make a couple of channels, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All
I
right.
already have a name for the Human Nature channel. I'm gonna run it by you.
Okay.
Um, and kind of like a backup channel to this channel, which I already have some, but there's certain things I want to do. I'm not gonna get too much into that, but
All right.
and then there's that other adult forum that I wanted to make. Straight
Okay.
adult, straight eroticism, where people can come anonymously and we talk, and you put up a different name than your government name, unless you want to put yourself out there.
All
And
right.
I'm gonna really work on that, and I'm gonna really, I'm gonna
Right.
have my name in there, and I'm gonna have another name that's not my name, so I can really let it hang out, right? And nobody will know who it is, right? But I see a need
I
for it on a
already got
mature
my
level.
other name.
That's going to be very interesting because
You
I'm going
know.
to bare my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's going to be juicy, and it's going to be straight up uncensored. Not to be lewd, but we're going to go there and be real.
Mm-hmm.
Sexuality, sensuality, eroticism, and all this
All in
stuff. So
favor
not
say
some
I.
X-rated. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All in favor, say I. Even if you don't say I because you don't want your government name out there saying I,
Raise
that
your
somebody
hand
else
like
will.
you just don't care. You hear me? Oh my
I know, right? Like Alex, throw your guns in the air and
And
pop,
party
pop
like
like
you
you
just
just
don't
don't
care.
care.
Pow, pow, pow. Pow, pow, pow.
I remember I was listening to that song and some crazy words came to me, and I'm like, where did these words come from?
Oh my
You know,
gosh. Mm.
I'll share some of those words with you. But
I
yeah, to
know.
finish that, well, before we read on to the next one, that's
Yes.
something that always has bedazzled me. Like I got a thrill. There's another part of it. I got a thrill from being used sexually by a woman.
You need to explain
But
that to
but
me, boy, because
you know what happened? That's because of what happened to me with my older
yeah, that's
female
true
cousin when I
too. That's
was.
true too. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true
that's the
too.
reason why.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
reason why.
that's true.
That's the reason why.
Hmm.
And I don't mean use like get out, I used you, but just like the dynamics that there's nothing going to go
Yes.
on with this, and
Right.
you have that physical need, and I dealt with it, and you're through. You're good.
You need to go
You
to
know, call me
damn
when you
jail.
leave.
Jesus Christ. Every time you talk
I
about
know.
it,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
hmm.
4.5, 5 years old. Yeah, I know. It didn't traumatize me. Like, oh my God, I'm so messed up. Yeah, it was some
I
old
feel
man.
like
Yeah,
Beatrice. I feel
but
like Beatrice. When she's talking, all of a sudden she goes, "Jesus Christ!"
what was wrong? What was wrong? Sometimes that's the only words you can use to express
Oh
something
my
that's messed up. Sometimes, you
gosh!
know what I mean?
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah. So in my meditations, I go real deep and I think about all of these different things, but it's just something.
Right,
So pretty
right,
much that's the answer. You're right. It was right there in my face, but there's more to it. There's more
right,
to it. It's
right.
just more to it. I just don't understand why. The depths of it all. But we'll talk about those things, and
Yes,
we'll have a
indeed.
psychoanalysis, and I'll be the guinea pig, and you ask me the questions. We'll just put it out there
You
on the
know, you
Human
know,
Nature
you,
channel.
my fee is becoming very steep.
I know. You're untangling my tangled, knotted up yarn
Yes,
excellently for
yes,
me because we
yes.
speak even beyond this show, and I go
Mm-hmm.
real deep. But I want to get that forum up. Um, I don't know. I think I should really. use the forum template like we have for CryptoScurv.
Yeah.
That way, because that will attract people, that type of conversation on a deep level. We don't have to worry about populating that because the stuff is going to be so juicy.
Right.
And that would be because I write erotica and I want to start back with that again, but that would be my form of a self-healing erotica type thing.
Okay.
To purge myself of those old demons. Not that I have them in me and want to get down like that, but to revisit and analyze and make peace with those things. And so lots of times, even beyond just the dynamic of parents and this and that, but on a sexual level, we have things that we need to make peace with. What about the young lady who may have had a fast period of her life and she has not ever been that, but because of her reactionary actions, because of a molestation when she was young, she was affected that way, but she's forever labeled that. How does she make peace? You see what I mean?
Right.
So it's those type of things. So it's not just sex talk for sex talk, but it doesn't have to be just that. But we can go there. And I will talk about those things on a deeper level because I've had a little more exposure than most men out here. I'm not saying, oh, I was the man. No, I'm not saying that. But I've been afforded a lot of conscious exposure in these situations and lots of deep conversations with women in proximity to brothers that I knew that had certain issues. So in the sense of healing and entertainment, it'll be funny. It'll be fun. It'll be erotic. It'll be arousing sometimes. It's cool. But I want to have something like that. But I wouldn't put it, and I'm not hiding, but I wouldn't put, YouTubers, they would smash me if I tried to do something like that on this channel.
Exactly.
But I want to have a forum that we can use and discuss, and that is going to be real good because I'm connected to different factions that would promote it. It'll be a good thing. But you're not going to use your real name. If you do so at your own risk. And I want it to be a lady-friendly place with respect.
Right.
Number one, ain't no damn girl, that was your fantasy. You did that. What's your number? I'm gonna go. Listen, if she wants attention from you, there'll be a part of it where you can exchange your email addresses. Okay. But it's not going to be some hot little pickup spot where we put stuff out there and try to titillate people.
No.
It's about the healing.
No.
It's a little different.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And there will be unions out of that because, you may find out that some people are into things that you're into, and then maybe let's talk about it a little bit off of this thing. Go private. But some of the people are afraid to go there. I'm not afraid to go anywhere online, but I want to do it in a way that doesn't affect the court channel.
Exactly.
So let's read about this next one.
So let's read about the lovable rebel.
Lovable rebel.
Yes, sir.
The lovable rebel. For the woman who is drawn to this type, the man who intrigues her has a noticeable disdain for authority. He is a nonconformist. Unlike the devilish romantic, this man will often be young and not so successful. He will tend to be outside her usual circle of acquaintances. Excuse me. To have a relationship with him would be ever so slightly taboo. Certainly, her father would not approve, and perhaps not her friends or colleagues. If a relationship does ensue, however, she will see a totally different side to him. He can't hold down a good job, not because he's a rebel, but because he's lazy and ineffectual.
Are you there?
He's quite conventional. You can hear me?
You dropped out for a second. Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I'll read the last sentence back.
Yeah.
Despite the tattoos and shaved head, he's quite conventional, controlling, and domineering. The relationship will break apart, but the fantasy will remain. The woman with this projection often had a strong patriarchal father who was distant and strict. The father represents order, rules, and conventions. He was quite often critical of his daughter. She was never good or pretty or smart enough. She internalized this critical voice and hears it in her head all the time. As a girl, she dreamed of rebelling and asserting herself against the father's control. but too often she was reduced to obeying and playing the differential daughter. Her desire to rebel was repressed and went into her animus, that subconscious part of her that the world doesn't
Right.
see, for those who are just coming on, which is quite angry and resentful. Instead of developing the rebelliousness herself, she looks to externalize it in the form of the rebellious male. If she senses a man might be like this based on his appearance, she will project fantasies that are charged and sexual. Oftentimes, she chooses a man who is relatively young because this makes him less threatening, less of a patriarch. But his youth and immaturity make it almost impossible to form a stable relationship, and her angry side will come out as she grows disenchanted.
Wow.
Once a woman recognizes she is prone to this projection, she must come to terms with a simple fact. What she really wants to develop, uh, what she really wants to is to
Yeah.
develop
Mm-hmm.
the independence, assertiveness, and power to disobey in herself. It is never too late to do so, but these qualities must be built up and developed in small steps, everyday challenges in which she practices saying no, breaking some rules, etc. Becoming more assertive, she can begin to have relationships that are more equal and satisfying.
Wow.
Is that something? Again, you look back to your childhood and your youth and how the family dynamic was set up, and this will tell you how you're wired.
Mm-hmm.
And many people refuse it. I know people who refuse. They get mad when you bring up. Listen, the childhood had a lot of effect on our psyche. You're always saying that because you had a good childhood. But look at that. I had a good childhood,
Right.
and I was whoring around with older women that love to be used by them.
Right.
Oftentimes, just like with what happened with me when I was younger, oftentimes I would go over there and service them and I wouldn't get nothing. It was all right with me until I got resentful.
See?
Ain't that something?
See?
See? So that was an early experience that kind of preempted the years of love that I had before and the different types of love that I had from my parents. But it was still there
Mm-hmm.
like a thorn in my side, like a pebble in the shoe.
Mm-hmm. Because you
So
see,
that's why. Hmm.
your parents were giving you the self-esteem and those things that you needed, right? And
Hmm.
they would have
Hmm.
allowed you to grow and develop and, come into yourself naturally. And this person sort of she did a
Yeah. Threw
preemptive
me off, messed me
strike,
up.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
got you
That's what
there
it is.
before you were supposed to,
Right.
So you don't know. So technically speaking, I mean, now you've searched yourself and you recognize what it is that you're dealing with, but up until you realized it,
Hmm.
you had no choice but to be used, but to want
But
to
look
be
at it this way
used.
still. As we get older and we still untangle that emotional yarn from the things that affected us,
Mm-hmm.
remember the spark plug is still in there.
Yeah, unplug
You
the
see what
damn
I mean?
ssk plug. Yeah, that's
Well, you
true.
know what I mean. I mean,
That's
for
true.
many
I
people, I
was
mean, I'm
making a
good right
joke.
now. Yeah, 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 yeah. But they think they did a thorough job,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't. And I hate to use the example of a cancer because many of out here may be going through that, but it's almost
Right.
like
I'm sure there are
you know
spark
you.
plugs I need to unplug. Yeah, you're right.
But I remember all of them. But like a person who has a cancer,
Yeah,
imagine a doctor said, and especially if it was a malignant tumor, that we got 98% of it. If that's a malignant tumor, you got to get it all out. Any kind
exactly.
of tumor, because
Exactly.
that 2% will continue to grow and spread.
Right.
So when you go in for your therapy, whether it's your self meditation or your self therapy, which is good to have someone to interact with, to talk to, it doesn't mean you have to pay for somebody who's just going to sit there. And I'm not saying
Right.
that's the worst thing, but a stranger, come on. But then sometimes we're too shy to speak to somebody we know and open up.
Right.
See, I've been around the block many times. I've been around the block so many times, I don't think the block is there no more. I ran the block down.
You wore it out.
So I have no shame when it comes to sharing things and being the guinea pig to talk about certain things.
Right.
There
Right.
are other things that don't involve that story that I can talk about and that I will talk about.
Right.
Because I'm at peace with myself and I know how things stood and I know why I am the way I am. And I still got some jacked up things about me, but they're minor and stuff that I can control and stuff that I understand. I'm in the process of dealing with.
Right.
Because this life, and I want to just tell everybody who's listening, this life is a journey, and you're not ever in this life going to reach perfection.
Exactly.
Because what you call perfection may be something so far. Enjoy your life, enjoy yourself, continually work on yourself. But don't think there's this day where there's this big ceremony where Empress Elegy, I want to announce to you today that you have reached perfection. Da, da, da. Like it's some graduation ceremony, you get a big diploma and everybody clapping.
Right.
So
I'm listening.
it's yeah. So with that self-explanatory, the lovable rebel, and how
Right.
many
Right.
women that we know, and they explained it as a woman thing, and usually with that dynamic, it's a woman who's the older woman and may go for the younger guy, and she's going against the strict father and all that stuff. It's never really the strict father over the man, and he goes for it's just a different dynamic. It's usually like that, and then she realizes he's lazy because I'm going to add him on that one too. I
Mm-hmm.
know many young men and some older men that their source of income when they get out immediately on a realistic level because they're not thinking about, well, I'm going to get a job or I have my own business because maybe they did and have to start it over again, but usually it's not the case. So the easiest way of getting comfort in a roof over your head, in a hot meal, and some crotch sauce is to go and meet a woman who may like the fact that you are a rebel.
Right.
And I call it the broken wing syndrome because women will have a heart even for a guy who she knows is no good, but when he's down and out, locked up, unable to do anything for himself, some type of women like that will rush in to help because he's not a threat. Just the same way we don't understand why we have so many of our sisters, and I have no problem with it in essence, but the ones who are chronic with this whole thing about, yes, my man, he's locked up. Well, when did he get locked up? Well, he got locked up 10 years ago. How long you know him? 3
Seven.
weeks. So, right. But I mean that there are women who I've known. I've known a lot of women who marry dudes who are locked up. No knock to the brothers who are locked
Oh,
up.
really? Oh,
We know the
okay.
system's
Okay.
not.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
what I meant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We know the system's unfair and you have a right, whatever. But I'm not going to defend the slicksters now who are looking to use women, and that's what I'm talking about. But we also have these women who have the broken wing syndrome. That bird who can't fly and he's got to walk and he's vulnerable now to other animals that he would usually fly over. And
Right.
she wants to rush in to save him. And when she nurses him to strength to be able to fly, she thought she was going to get the benefits and the rewards
Then he
of
leaves.
helping him, and he
Mm-hmm.
flies away.
Mm-hmm.
And or she thought she was going to get the benefits of him because he would appreciate her and stay. And the dynamic would stay that way. But
Mm-hmm.
now he can fly and do what he wants. He might even stay with her, but now she's threatened because he's free. He comes back for a time, but she doesn't have control over the situation.
Right.
And there are
Right.
some women who don't want a man who is completely independent. There are some like that. They want that unemployed dude on the couch that just don't want to do anything with himself. I'm not going to say it has to be in the form of a job. We know how jobs go, just over broke.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, and then we have the men who are that how can I put it, perpetual entrepreneur. Yeah, baby, I was looking at the paper today, man. If I go buy this and sell it for this price, or if we do this and do
Mm.
that, and she's like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
that sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
Now she feels he's growing in the way that she wants, and she can be proud of him. And she's always subsidizing his dreams that never seem to take flight.
Right.
Well, we go a lot of places with that.
I know.
But they'll get disappointed, like what they said, the lovable rebel. And she falls in love because with him or likes him because he's diametrically opposed to
To
what
her
her father
father.
was, being strict and orderly. So, like I said, usually sometimes the opposite thing that your father was as a woman is what turns you on, and sometimes the
Hmm.
very thing that he was, if he was bad, might turn you on too.
And this
It's
is
something how
good,
the bad qualities attract us.
right? This is good information for fathers too. Men
Yeah,
who are raising daughters, you have to really pay attention to
first
how you
example.
are with them. You know what I'm saying? How strict
Mm-hmm.
are you? How overbearing are you as a father? You know, are you not giving your
Mm-hmm.
child a chance to express her natural self? Like a lot of times fathers don't want their daughters to talk back, or
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
exemplify anything that looks masculine. So they cow them to keep them in that timid, state of
Yeah,
mind. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And those are the overbearing fathers. I mean, it's so funny because a lot of times you find that mothers are the overbearing ones with their children, or the ones that what is it, throw down the hammer, or are the real strict disciplinarians. But you do have those one or two fathers, five or six fathers that are just,
Right,
they're the ones that lay down the law, and
right.
it
That's right.
can be to the detriment of your son or your daughter, because
Mm-hmm.
like they say, when they break out or when them broke out, is a whole different person you're dealing with,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have the wildest situations going on.
yeah,
Like the young lady who was raised so strict, and when she finally hopped the fence and went to the party when she was
yes,
15, 16 years old and threw her back
exactly.
out, the mother said,
Hmm.
that's the punishment of God, and I'm not taking you to a chiropractor. And she was messed up for the rest of her life with one butt cheek that was shrinking down because he had the
My
sciatic nerve,
gosh.
the pinched nerve, and it could have been a simple manipulation at a sports chiropractor that would have set her straight. And then now the whole taunts of her with her beautiful chocolate complexion. Oh, you're black. And they called her, I'm not going to call her a nickname because that will put it out there who she
Right,
is.
right,
But
right, right,
they
right.
called her demeaning things and she internalized it and
Mm-hmm.
she died. And from what I'm hearing, she just didn't wake up. It was nothing wrong, but it was a broken heart. To
Mm-hmm.
me, I know this young lady real good. We grew up
Mm-hmm.
together. And when I would see the few pictures that would be on, she never even had a Facebook page. She didn't even have the confidence to put one up, as
Right.
pretty as she was, because she felt flawed that they would laugh at her and look at her funny. And one of her legs started to get really small. And she had to tippy toe on that one leg.
Isn't that terrible? I
You know
hope that
what?
mother is in hell. I swear to God, I hope she's in hell. Uh,
For real.
mm-mm.
And like I said, I always wished, not on a sexual level, but after that happened and a couple years went by and I was out there doing my thing, it wasn't a sympathy thing, but I wish I could have loved her for a little while on a complete
Mm-hmm.
level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not that I wanted to go do that, like I'm gonna just use her. Because she did like me a little bit. Like she did. If I approached her after we weren't younger and hanging around each other, she would have got with me. And I wouldn't have hurt her either. But I would have made her feel so good on so many different levels. Yeah, I would have been physical too, but I would have made her feel so good and loved and appreciated and whatever. And she would have been that bird that got the wing healed up and flew away. And I would have paid my own money and go right to where I went when I had my slip disc. You know what I
Right,
mean? And
right,
got her
right.
straight. I would have paid her like, come over here. And I would have turned her out with love. Because on
Mm.
a righteous level aside, because she was a gorgeous woman, I'm looking like, man, this just going to waste. But I righteously loved her.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have took it there all the way and make her feel good and loved her and walked down the street with her and been with her, whatever. And she probably would have OD'd on that and probably went crazy, left me anyway. But what I'm
True,
saying is that
true.
could have made the difference. And I wouldn't have mind because enough women use me, right? So do it for something worthwhile.
Right. That's true.
She never knew she was never appreciated. And there were guys who saw her as an easy pick because of what had happened with her, which wasn't super obvious until she walked, but I could just see her faces every day. The people who are deceased and people who I know who are broken, alive or deceased or transition, and it's like I see there. It's like a roster that goes through my mind. It's like that pastor who says he prays for the congregation. He's paying for them to keep their jobs to get the money. For me, it's not about that. It's just that I send out good energy to those who are here and who have went to the great beyond, as Elizabeth says, and I wish them well, and I wish them healing, and I wish them good. And these are people who, some of them are faceless. I
Right.
mean, not faceless but nameless, that I've dealt with, and I forgot their names. It might have been a customer in a certain job that I worked on, or a passenger who we talked every night when they got out of work. I just didn't know their name,
Right.
but they left an impression on my heart. You know what I mean? And so I'm connected to these people this way because I'm an empath. Also, I'm a tough empath a lot of times, right? But I'm sensitive to the needs of people. I can cut off from a person now when you're no good. You're a narcissist or you just want to use people. I'm as tough as they come.
Right.
But I'm quick to cry. I'm quick to feel things.
Right.
And I'm going to say this just like I told you off of the show, and then we'll move on to the next one. There's a guy there, forgot his name, I don't know if you remember it, but he makes these videos. It looks like an Indian guy that's Americanized. And he
Oh yeah,
makes these
Darman.
videos.
Darman.
Darman, yeah, Darman.
Yeah, Darman.
And he has a mixture of a cast that usually he rotates. It's some of the same actors, like 8 different actors that are going to be in every one, but he
Right.
rotates.
Right.
And it's really about life's lessons. Okay, so like say for example, in the one that I saw, because he teaches through the thing about status and racism and body shaming and stuff. There was a white girl who was overweight, and it started out where she went into a shop where they sell ballet gear and the tights and stuff, and she wanted a pair of the tights, and she was overweight, visibly overweight. If you didn't know the skit, you say, okay, and most people, man, she's fat. Didn't look athletic, didn't have any balance visibly. And it wasn't her fault, as we found out. And so she went in, and the young lady, the woman who was always playing the bad girl in all of his skits, she was like, we don't have your size. You want to be a ballet dancer? And the young girl was like, uh-huh. She wasn't 14, 15 years old, but she was a little older than that. But you can tell she was sensitive to the fact that she was a little bit overweight.
Right.
And how cruel it can be when people treat you a certain way because of that.
Right.
And that's the first thing they poke at, how hurtful they can be. So I'm watching this thing. I didn't intend to watch it, but I was sitting here doing some work on both of the computers and editing and setting up shows and stuff. And I took a break and I said, this caught my eye. Let me see where this is going, because this thing's never lasts too long. So when she went in for the audition at this ballet center where, all the ballet girls are practicing and they have their little things they're working toward, like there's going to be this presentation or this play or this, show. And so there were auditions for this particular thing. And as heavy as she was, I'm talking about her gut hanging down between her legs like that. I'm not making fun of it. I'm just got to paint the picture. I'll put it in the community section of the YouTube in Telegram and everything when I find it again, that one. But she walked in and she was very humble. And there was one girl who was going for the part, the head role in the ballet thing. And she looked at her, what are you here for? You're going to play the horse? Because you damn sure not going to try to win this, audition over me.
Exactly. Right.
And when the girl got ready to do the audition, the other people were giggling because this main girl was making fun of her. But they probably would have been quiet. But the main one who was cocky, and the main one was good now. She actually got the part that year. But when the heavy-set girl got up, or before she got up, the girl who was teasing her walked past her when she was sitting down about to get her, because she was the next one, and stepped on her foot and hurt the girl's foot. And the girl didn't even say that that other arrogant one did that to her. So when it was time for her to get up to audition, she limped over and tried and fell because of what happened. Okay?
Right.
So the one who was the instructor, who was very fair, she's like, you want to try again or whatever? And she's like, there's something wrong with your foot? She said, yeah, there's something wrong with my foot. And she could have easily said, that chick over there stepped on it and said whatever. And I know some of the other girls saw it. Now I'm mad.
Right.
Now I'm mad. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Right.
So we know, and how we talk, we know that white folks benefit from the oppression of black people. We know, but that was a young girl who I didn't see any of that in her. And I was
Exactly.
mad, and I would have defended this little white girl. She wasn't too
Mm-hmm.
little, because I don't like stuff like that.
Right.
I don't like to see anybody take advantage of anybody like that. So I'm rolling with her now in this thing. So I paused the computers and I'm watching this thing.
You
And
got
so
into
she
it,
went
huh?
home, and her aunt that raised her was there and caught the tail end of it and straightened out that other girl. And the instructor apologized, but she didn't get the role. Okay. So when the aunt picked her up, she went on live to tell the story of her niece who was overweight and trying to be the ballet dancer.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that she has a condition in her spine. There were the various medications that she must take to survive. There's too much fluid in her spine, and all those different things going on in her body cause her to be swollen and overweight. It's not like
Right.
she's somebody who was sitting at home eating and a pig with the appetite. She would eat very little and still had this weight on her. So she made this video, not behind her back, but she did it to put it out there. And there were some who left comments that fact shamed her, but there was a
Mm-mm.
photographer who was a famous photographer in those circles of ballet that she always admired, the young girl.
Right.
And he saw it and came to her, to a house, and photographed her overweight, but she knew the moves. See, she wasn't an amateur like that, but she knew the moves. She was just heavy because of the
Right.
condition that she had.
Right.
So now the next year came for the same audition, and she went back. She couldn't lose the weight because it was
It
beyond the
was
scope of
just
her
right.
ability with the condition. Many of us have hormone conditions. Many of us we get stressed and we lose a loved one. We eat
Mm-hmm.
more, even when we eat more. Sometimes that's because of something else. It doesn't mean you're undisciplined, but you're hurting. So she went back, and the same girl was there talking about, "Oh, you're gonna waste your time again. I'm gonna get it again. Why are you wasting it?" So she was extra cocky. So the instructor had to straighten her out. So the girl got up and did so excellent, even at the weight that she was, the same weight that she got the head part. I don't know how you say it
Wow.
with the ballet.
Lead.
She wanted the audition, and
Mm-hmm.
the people who were there were clapping for her. And that one woman who was good, a girl like in the early 20s, they were in their early 20s, she was good.
Mm-hmm.
But this girl
Mm-hmm.
was better. It's just the visual of her being heavy threw people off, but she did the moves fluid and knew everything and did everything excellently. And she was so happy. And so now this is a real life story. It wasn't just a skit.
Right.
She acted to act out her own story, and the other actresses and actors that were in there, they were the actresses and actors. So
Isn't
she
that
sat at the end
something?
and told her story and how things went viral. And Darman, who makes these videos, was there, and he said, "Listen, she wants to go further in this. Let's help her live her dreams. There's a GoFundMe page that was made, and let's help her." That's how you use social media. And guess what? It's a little white girl, but I was crying at the end.
Wow.
I was crying, tears down my face because of different levels. I was never fat like that to be fat shamed, but I was doubted by certain factions, not my parents or anybody in my inner circle, but I always had to overcome the odds when people didn't think I could do what I did. When I got into bodybuilding, I didn't have the natural potential of the wide shoulders and the whatever. You may say that I can't see the flaws, but I just didn't have it. But I knew I did have it, and I could work around the physical limitations, and I won a national title. You
Mm-hmm.
see,
Mm-hmm.
as a teenager.
Right.
And that was a wrap for me because it showed me that whatever I worked hard for, I can do. And sometimes we don't reach those goals, but everybody has a right to try and live out what they do and their dreams and their vision. To hell with somebody getting in your way. You chop their hand off, you roll over their foot righteously. How dare you get in my way? And I don't like that. I don't care who it is. I'm not going to say, "Well, that's some old white devil, so I don't care about her." I could see the love inside of her and the hurt. And we all need to be a little
Mm-mm.
more of an empath to feel what others are feeling. Because we can be that
Exactly.
comfort to them that when we were going through something, somebody came up out of nowhere, whether they knew us or not, and put their arm around us and said, you know what? You're loved, you're capable,
Mm-hmm.
and with a little hard work, you can do it. So I'm very protective over anybody who's abused that way, or you have somebody sitting by the side trying to break their spirit. I don't
Right.
allow that in my
I don't
presence.
like that.
I don't
Mm-mm.
allow it.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I don't care if I don't know you. I don't care if you never see me again. If I see you being taken advantage of, I'll protect you.
Right.
That energy will come back to me in a good way another time. I'm not looking for nothing, but I can't allow that. To hell with that. And if that was a black girl shaming the white girl, and the white girl was innocent and the black girl was arrogant, I'm still going to defend that white girl, and I'm going to straighten that black girl out because right is right and wrong is wrong. And I was in here crying tears of joy that she had the opportunity to do what she did, and the world appreciated her for what she was because she wasn't some fat slob pig. She had a medical condition. And how dare you not know what she was going through and try to come down?
That's
And why would
right.
you want to smash somebody who's innocent and wants to try something?
They had a similar skit with someone who wanted to join the cheerleading squad, like one of those Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But this was a black girl, and
Mm-hmm.
she was bigger than the rest, and it was like same scenario,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
white girl that she just knew that she was the it one, and whatever.
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. There was one more, and I'll make it really quick. There was a car dealer, and he was arrogant. He's a white guy. He was arrogant. A luxury car, like a Rolls Royce or Bentley or something like that. So you're not going to have people test driving them like you would Toyotas every day because that's not a commuter car. It's a luxury car.
Right.
So he was telling the black woman who was new onto the team, as far as being a salesperson, like how you do it type thing. And there was a guy an older black man, who appeared to be down and out, on his luck.
Right.
He had some older clothes on. He was an older man. He had the 5 o'clock shadow. It wasn't a shadow, it was like gray coming in. His shoes looked a certain way. And so he walked up to the both of them, and this wasn't in the dealership. This was like in the park. Well, it was, but in the parking
Right.
lot of the dealership. And he walked up and he says, "Boy, that is such a pretty car. I would love to drive one of those one day. And maybe if I don't get a chance to own it, I'd love to test drive that car." And the white man was like, "Well, it's not for all of us to drive a car like that, especially when, we don't allow bums to come in and test drive the car." And so the young lady was like, "Well, we're not doing anything. And anybody wants to test drive it, if they sincerely want to, they can."
Right.
And then he kind of whispered to her real loud, "Look at his shoes. He doesn't have
Hmm.
the right shoes on. Look at him.
Mm.
The shoes are bummy. His clothes are bummy. He didn't even shave this morning. And I know if I get a little closer to him, he's probably going to stink."
Hmm.
To that effect. Now, I'm not word for word. I'm not sure what he said, but it was to that effect. And
Right.
so when they went up into the main part to get the keys, which the white guy didn't know because he was like the head salesman. So he was cocky and she was new. And so when he realized that she was getting the keys, he was upset. "Oh, you're not going to end up working here for very long if you just want to let every bum test drive it." So they test drove it and they came back in. And the guy
Right.
who the white man said was a bum had the shoes with the holes in it, the old Mickey Mouse looking watch, some old cheap looking watch, and the shirt was wrinkled in the 5 o'clock shadow. And he looked down and out on his luck. He came back to the office and said, "I'll take it." And the white guy laughed.
Hmm.
He says, "You can have your fantasies about owning this car one day, but you talk about what do you think we're gonna hand this to you?"
Right.
Well, the guy got his credit checked up and he could afford it. The man explained to the woman something to the effect of that he lost his wife and he was depressed, and they still own this business and he's still good for this money. And now you see my credit is good for this, but I think I'm going to pay for this Bentley cash. And whipped out the money. And the white man couldn't believe it. He said, the reason why I want to buy this car is because that's the car my wife always wanted. And we afforded luxury cars before, but she passed on before I can get this car. And what I'm going to do, I'm not really going to drive it. I'm going to drive it home and put it on the side of the garage where she always parked her car.
Wow.
And that's for her. Man, I was crying again. I was just sitting there. I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. That's what you do.
That's what you do. I dropped the link to the video. The dog man.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. I want everybody to go check that out. You'll be hooked on all of them. And I want to do videos like that too when I'm really super settled in a few months. I want to really get into doing that. I want to get not just crazy running around. Oh, the man came home early and the wife, had another man in bed. Yeah, you could do those things too, but I want to do things that have lessons to it. I've always wanted to do that. And just when I'm completely settled in, I want to do stuff like that because I have all those things in my head. That's what I'm looking forward to too. That's a beautiful thing. That's how you. That's how you touch people. I'm still the black man who's angry at the system and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But in that, we're full range.
You're full dimensional.
We can't just be
Is that a word?
the one-way Charlie at a time. We'll burn ourselves out.
That's right.
You got to know how to be shrewd and place things where they're needed. If I was a fighter, I'm not going to come and just swing for your head, swing for your body, swing for your knee, your hip, just swing. I'll be done by the first or second round. You have to have aggression, but you have to have your precise aggression, effective aggression in this life. You can't fight every single battle. You'll burn out. You got to be shrewd. You have to know what the goal is, like a controlled demolition. You don't go to knock the building down and put all the bombs on one side. It's going to fall over one side. You got to place them around equally and let them go off at a certain time. This bomb goes first, or first on the bottom, then the ones on the 10th floor, and it comes straight down. It's like a World Trade Center, except with bombs that we don't talk about. Right?
Excuse me.
Yeah. So
all right. So we're gonna go to the fallen woman.
Yes.
And see.
I told you I was going to spend some time tonight now. I told you
I know you did,
live, no matter how late I'm
I
up,
appreciate that. I do.
We're going to do that extra. We still going to give them the morning time for the morning show. It might be a kind of a rap. We'll give them what they want. I'm going to be righteously angry. We're going to go in on some things.
Yes, indeed. We're multifaceted. We can do these things.
Exactly. But there's so many cerebral online projects that I want to do with videos and forums and the different facets of human nature. It's going to be vast and it's going to be beautiful.
Are you going to be available for me tomorrow? So when I tell you that we need to create these websites,
Yeah. We're going to sit down together. And we have to use different email addresses to attach to each one. And I don't want to use the same one that LanceScurv is on.
Right.
Because if they attack that, he's got something new. Because I got several channels that I don't use that's under that, but I just made them a name like ScurvMedia or LanceScurv, the full government name. And they're going live right now as we speak. But those are just like experiments. But I'm going to make a full different channel, different header, different thing. And with the Human Nature channel,
different colors.
Different colors and everything like that. And I will be there, and we're going to be talking and doing things the same way, but I'm not going to put it as a Scurv thing because that name, YouTube is sniffing for that name. You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
It's like they got me like I'm selling drugs or something. So if I open up an establishment across town, I can't say LanceScurv. They'll try to shut it down or use taxes or do a raid or look for something, I got to get some innocent little white boy to open the place in his name. It's my money, but they can't get me because they can't attach me to the cash flow, right? So
Exactly.
we got to
Right,
be shrewd
right,
with these
right.
things. You know what I mean?
Yes, indeed.
And we'll let
We're
it grow.
gonna
No, but everybody here discreetly will know what it is. I may not even
right.
put it on this channel. Say, hey, everybody,
Go to
go over there because I'm
LanceScurv.com
gonna have
and
the haters
check.
go over there
It'll
too.
be there. It'll be on LanceScurv.com. So anybody who's
Oh,
wondering,
of course, of course.
remember LanceScurv.com.
And so, what I want to do with that one before we read this other thing is that I want to do human nature, usually the dark side, but the good parts too. What makes us do the things we do, have
Yeah.
confessionals, have call-ins, have interviews on different levels. If somebody wants to sit in front of my camera and they sit like in the shadows, like on those shows where you don't see the face and they change your voice, I was having sex with 10 women at the same time that lived in the same block and they didn't know it. And you ain't gonna, you're gonna tell your dirt, but you don't want to be revealed. We can do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yes, mind of rascally. Much love and light. Yes. So this last one. The fault
It's
with
the last one. It's not the
last one.
last one. You got a whole
No,
heap
it's not the
more.
last one. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like the last one because they're the original man and woman.
Yeah.
And what I will do, and there's so much more to talk about on this chapter, but I will read this last one. We'll ran a little bit for a good long time more, and I'm probably going to sign on continuous. And again, when I do also the Human Nature channel, I will also upload it here after a time, not right away, because we want to bring people over there, and it won't be every day. It might be twice a week, it might be once a week, but it'll be like a 4 or 5 hour show. That we go in and have these kind of readings and discussions, and you can pop in and talk your stuff. I'll put up footage, everything. It's going to be something so involved that it couldn't be every day. It'd be too much to digest and keep up the other chapter. It'd be too much. But it'll be good. It'll be good. It'll be good. And I'll seek out some real humdingers and people that I know, and there'll be some, because I know some people. They'll come on.
I know.
They'll come on. Oh, I know some people. I'll tell the Lance just to put my name out there, man. You know what I'm saying? No criminals look like that where they violated, like molesters. We don't glorify stuff like that.
Right.
Only when they get their ass beat or get a big prison sentence. But things, little secrets, little things that people have done. Come on, let's open up and talk about it. What made you do this? Why do you think? Let's explore. Let's go deep. You know what I mean? We ain't talking no 10-minute interview. Stay on there for like 2-3 hours if you want. Come back later on. Discussions, real stuff.
I'll have you interview my twin sister.
Really? I'll do that.
Okay.
Now, this chat room will be quiet, twin sister. and if people wanted to have me read something off that they write, they don't want to even have their voice on.
Right.
Or they say, well, listen, I had this issue, talk about it. You know what I mean? We'll talk about it.
Right.
So whatever level, like I said, everybody can go to the beach, but everybody doesn't want to go to the beach on the same level. Like I always say, someone want to stand in the sand and put their toe in there. Some want to swim and go way out so you can't see them no more.
Right.
Some don't want to leave the boardwalk. They just want to look at the people walking by. So on this beach of the new channel and on this show, you can decide how far you want to go.
Right.
That's what we want to do. So everybody's comfortable with how far they go.
If anybody is here that hasn't hit the like button yet, please hit the like button and share. Thank you.
Yes,
okay, Brother
indeed.
Lance.
And again, I want to thank the people who went over to Facebook and hit the like button on Facebook, because for so many years, I have been just under the 5,000 mark of likes. Now, I'm not caught up in just numbers, but I know they're messing with me over there too.
Right.
So I'm like, what the hell? So it went up 2 today. And,
Indigo King, we thank you for that one.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
2.
Yes. I put the link there. If you're on Facebook or you want to log in, all you got to do is like the page. It's the same stuff we put up over here. I'm going to start having like a lot of news stories and stuff like that, just sharing stuff and links or whatever. And I can be emailed on that also. That's my Facebook page officially, but it's a like page. So There's 5 of y'all here, 10 of y'all here. Hit that link and just hit the like button. You probably have to log in to do so. Don't forget, I just want to bring it over 5,000. If somebody's playing with me, just the same way they're playing with me on
I
YouTube.
take it that's your airplane going up.
Yeah, the computer is acting up right now. For some reason, it just starts doing,
Oh my
all kind
gosh.
of jacked up. Yeah. It happens. I'm gonna ignore it. And it will stay
Oh my
quiet. And
gosh.
yeah, now you hear it before you didn't hear it.
I thought it was your
Yeah.
desk.
No. Oh, when you said airplane going, no, that's the
Yeah.
computer.
Oh
If
wow.
it's too loud, I'm not gonna
That's
end the
okay.
show, but this is what happens. I'm
Listen,
gonna have to get another
I don't think
computer or
anybody's
something.
paying any attention to that. Let's just read fallen angel or fallen woman, because I'm sure everybody wants to
Yeah.
know what is a
Yeah, we're gonna
fallen
read it.
woman,
Yeah, we're gonna read it. I mean, it's not too loud where it bothers you. You can't hear what I'm saying. And it will probably stop, but it just happens out of nowhere. It's just weird. Okay,
Right.
the fallen woman. To the man in question, the woman who fascinates him seems so different from those he has known. Perhaps she comes from a different culture or social class. Perhaps she is not as educated as he is. There might be something dubious about her character and her past. She is certainly less physically restrained than most women. He thinks she's earthy. She seems to be in need of protection, education, and money. He will be the one to rescue and elevate her. But somehow, the closer he gets to her, the less it turns out as he had expected. In Swan's Way, Volume 1 of the novel In Search of the Lost Time by Marcel Proust, the protagonist, Charles Swanson, we ignore it, it goes away,
Mm-hmm.
right? Based on a real person, it is in, what is this word? What is this word here? Oh, God.
Aesthetics.
Esthete. It sounds
Yeah.
like a French word. A
Yeah, it is.
connoisseur of
Mm-hmm.
art. See, I get stumped on, so I gotta say that word all day like 100 times. I won't get that word.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is also a Don Juan who is deathly afraid of any relationship or form of commitment. He has seduced many women of his class, but he meets a woman named Odette, who is from a decidedly different social circle. She is uneducated, a bit vulgar, and some would say she is a courtesan. She intrigues him. Then one day, while starting at a reproduction of a biblical scene from the Botticelli fresco, so all these things are making me talk, right? I'm getting a Mike Tyson
Mm-hmm.
moment. Besides, she resembles a woman in the painting. Now he is fascinated, begins to idolize her. Odette must have had a hard life, and she deserves better. Despite his fear of commitment, he will marry her and educate her in the finer things of life. What he doesn't realize is that she does not at all resemble the woman he fantasizes about. She is extremely clever and strong willed, much stronger than he is, and she will end up making him her passive slave as he continues to have affairs with other men and
As
women.
she,
Oh my
yeah,
God,
as she
other men and
continues.
women.
No, as
Yeah.
she continues to have affairs with other men and women.
Oh, okay. Is that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay. Okay, I blinked my eye right there.
Lord.
But still,
But
she having
still,
affairs with women
women.
too?
Yeah.
Maybe he likes that kind of thing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I'm like, he's doing it. What's up with that? Why put
Mm-mm.
that in there?
Mm-mm.
Okay, men of this type often had strong mother figures in their childhood. They became good, obedient boys, excellent students at school. Consciously, they are attracted to well educated women, to those who seem good and perfect, but unconsciously, they are drawn to women who are imperfect, bad, of dubious character. They secretly crave what is the opposite of themselves. It is the classic split of the mother / whore. They want the mother figure for a wife, but feel a much stronger physical attraction to the whore, the fallen woman, the type who likes to display her body. They have repressed the playful, sensual, and earthy sides of the character they had as boys. They are too rigid and civilized. The only way they can relate to these qualities is through a woman who appear to be so different than themselves. Like Swan, they find a way to idolize them with some highbrow reference that has no relation to reality. They project onto such women weakness and vulnerability. They tell themselves that they want to help and protect them, but what really attracts them is the danger and naughty pleasures that these women seem to promise.
Wow.
Underestimating the strength of such women, they often end up as their pawns. Their anima is passive and masochistic.
Mm-mm.
Men who engage in this kind of projection need to develop the less conventional sides of their character. They need to move outside their comfort zone and try new experiences on their own. They require more challenges and even a bit of danger that will help loosen them up. Perhaps they need to take more risks at work. They also need to develop the more physical and sensuous side of their character. Not having to get what they crave by looking for the fallen woman type, they can actually begin to satisfy their urges with any type of woman, not passively waiting for her to lead them astray, but actively initiating the guilty pleasures.
Hmm.
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 But you see that though? That
Mm-hmm.
kind of woman was laying there as a trap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not saying that she was aggressively saying, I'm going to get a man who thinks I'm falling and I'm broke and all this stuff. But some will play that role, lure you in, and flip it around on you, where you end up bringing out this side of you that's passive because you
Exactly.
thought you're going to walk in there and save her. She may not have much
She don't
money,
want to
she
be
may not
saved.
have much culture.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And these are the women who end up with men who are at their beck and call.
Mm-hmm.
But the other women of his social status will say, wait a second, she never went to school like me. She didn't travel to social circles like me.
Right.
What the hell are you doing with somebody like that who's below us? Now, I'm not saying that there's people below. All I'm saying is that in those social statuses, you know how snobbish they can be.
Right.
She doesn't
Right.
come from a good family background. It might be slightly rebellious. She's not educated. She doesn't have any status. She doesn't have this good job. She's not, from a good family. Yet he feels he can save her. You see? And that's what
Mm-mm.
turns it around. And she seizes the opportunity to be with a man like that who may have all of that, the education, social influence and power, and even money, and it becomes hers to play with because she knew how to mentally put that thing on him and be a
Exactly.
little sensuously expressive, a little naughty, as opposed to the prim and proper women he's used to dealing with that he was supposed to marry.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's almost
Mm-hmm.
like that old Jewish man that watched me drive the dollar van week after week. You know, the dollar van is like the trotro out here. You know, in New York
Mm-hmm.
City when they had the bus strike in '79, a lot of vans and people using their cars to pick people up and bring them to the subway from the two-fare zone of Queens into another part of Queens where the subway started to run so they can go into Manhattan. Long story short, when the strike was over, it was such good money. A lot of these people continued to do it illegally and in the gray area. After so many years of watching this, thinking it didn't make much money, I started to do it, and it got so good financially, I had to leave my job. So I was out there in the street driving a van along a bus route and coming home with so much money at the end of the week. I had always had money in my pocket.
Mm.
So yeah, so in driving the dollar van, oh God, why did I bring that up? I had a brain fart now. What was I talking about?
You're talking about the Jewish man and his
Okay,
prim and
yeah, yeah,
proper ways.
yeah. A couple of things distracted me over
See,
here.
I'm paying
Um,
attention and I'm
I
distracted over
see,
here.
I see. I'm not even paying attention to my own brain. I talk so much, but I talk in five different tracks because I'm having other conversations and thoughts in my mind on what we're gonna do
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow as I talk, right? But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, and doing this every day, usually 6 days a week, and sometimes I go out there on a slow day or what wasn't slow. There might have been something going on in Manhattan, and there were a flood of people going to come out, or it's too cold or whatever. There was a Jewish man sitting across the street, with little locks, Hasidic Jew, and a tall hat, but he had regular clothes on. And he was always standing over there. I told this story not too long ago. I'm going to tell it fast.
Right, right.
Well, he came over to me on a Sunday when I went out there when it was slow. And like people were like, this guy's been scoping us out for the last 2 or 3 months. Now he comes to you, Lance. What's up with him? And I said, well, he came over to me and wanted to know if I can take him home to Spring Valley, New York. I'm like, you stood out there all these weeks and would leave and hop a cab and go somewhere else and just to come over. He said, no. This is something I want you to do for me. I want you to take me to whoop whoop. That's the one who had the Tourette's when he talked about something sexual. He said, whoop. I'm like, what the hell wrong with this man? Looked like an old Robert De Niro with white hair. And he looked like a Jewish Robert De Niro, like the old version of Robert De Niro, right?
Right.
And so he wanted me to take him around to the strip joints, but he felt scared because sometimes the neighborhoods they were in, him looking like that, but he couldn't go in and satisfy his sexual need for voyeurism in the legitimate places because he was a prominent businessman who was known in other circles, and a lot of these other places were owned by Jews that he knew, so he wanted to go around. So for $500 to hang out in strip joints, and he would get something for me to eat and drop him home. I didn't have to work that day, just go pick him up and take him where he wanted to go. I was used to seeing these kind of things, and I was a big, strong buck that he was using, obviously, and I wasn't going to risk myself, but he didn't know that, so I made a lot of money off of this guy. But what I was saying is that, look at him now. I'm not saying Jewish people, which they're not the real deal, you know, the so-called Jews are affluent, but they have their tight inner circle. And he could never have a mistress on that level in his world, because I got to learn a lot about him through observation and through the slight talks that he gave with me, but I was not dumb. Maybe he thought I was. So after he had his fun in the lower class of people, which involved different races, he'd go home to his little mini mansion in other world of Spring Valley. And it was spooky when I drop him home 4 or 5 in the morning and see all them Jews walking around with the black outfit, and there was fog out there, it was dark, and I'm like, yo, drop him off. He never had me drop him off in front of his house. It's like way off somewhere, and I would go and he'd stay there until I'm gone. And I'd get the hell out of there, but I had my money. Right? So anyway, this is what a lot of men feel sometimes when they have that savior complex.
Right.
And they also see the sensuous side of the lower class. I'm not saying this, I'm just sharing what is a lot of times of the lower class woman who she lives, let's break it down to present terms. She lives in the projects. She might have a few kids. She is sexually not promiscuous, but very open and has no inhibitions. And that prim and proper upbringing that he had causes him to be turned on to her because she don't mind when the titty fall out. She don't mind wearing that mini skirt and walking up the steps in front of you and you see the thong she got on. She laughs at it. Like, oh man, this is different. She might cuss somebody out and carry a blade and say, listen, nigga, if you come over any closer, you know I'm going to take care of you. And he's 3 times the size. That might turn that man on.
True.
You see what I mean? So that's the thing. Same thing with the opposites attracting. You have this, look, there are dudes I know, not just the ones that got out of incarceration, but just those who know the psychology of how this thing works. And they could sit down with you and probably read out the whole book without having the book.
True.
But they will walk straight to that woman who is not in their class according to the world standards and walk straight to her and rap to her with confidence, even though he doesn't have the kind of clothes that the man she usually prefers on the outside level may have. But she's so enamored by his confidence and how he looks past the fact that he's on a lower status. And he got the balls to talk to her. And she's so intrigued, she hands him the number. And he starts talking to her. And he's driving her car. He's up in her house. He's taking care of her in the bedroom and she loves it. He may not even be on some old using type stuff. He just saw a woman and saw through her, and he saw through her in a way, through her into her soul in a way that the privileged men never did.
Right.
There's a lot of that going on. A lot of that going on, especially, you know, I'm not even pushing anything interracial. But that's an aspect of what I saw. The young white girl who's going through her rebellious phase, or she might be a little older in her 20s, and she got this black dude in the grimiest part of the hood, and she loves hanging with him, and she affords him what she has access to through her trust fund or through the money she gets. The play money that she gets from her parents is like drug money to him. You see what I
that's
mean?
something, of course. Yeah.
And so she's coming around knowing, and she's getting off on the fact that he may have a chick or two to hold him down when she's gone, as long as she's the main one, because she has her bad boy. And again, she's been told to get her hair pulled, and she loves it because the prim and proper little white boys that she's with wants to make love to her, wants to hold hands and go and have family dinner with her family. She don't want that. And of course, we
I
have
want to be
sisters
basic.
who, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
she
of
don't
course, we
want
have
basic.
sisters who fit the same mold with the same brother, because
Yeah,
that sister might be privileged and living up in another part of the state. And
true.
it's an adventure to her to come down in the jungle where we have to use
And
all this to survive.
defy mommy
And
and
every
daddy.
moment that she's there, she's moist. Oh my God, I love this world. I love this. And where he, I won't say make love to her, but where they do their thing might be in the project somewhere, where every now and then they got the sprays, the sound smells like a little road spray in there, but she loves the basicness of it because she doesn't have to be this person.
Right.
Darling, the maid is going to come into your room and clean it up in a little while. Make sure you're dressed. Your father and I are going to go out now, and we're going to pick the Benz that you're going to drive when you go to school. It's crazy. When I went to New Jersey to speak at the College of New Jersey,
Right.
I forgot what the original name was, but I remember this was February of 2009. Old Scurv been out here for a long time. But it was a young lady who, her father, and she was Nigerian, she's Nigerian, her father's Nigerian. So it's not a black-white thing or even an American thing, it's a status thing. She loved the writings that I had on Black Planet, and she loved the artwork. So they were having some African American / Black people, no matter where you come from, type of thing for Black History Month.
Right.
And I remember it was the 9th of February when I spoke there. And so she called me and she wanted me to come up and speak about the art. Just, oh, I take the pen and stroke it this way and stroke it that way. She saw the things that I wrote. She says, man, you're gritty. I like the way you talk. It'll be interesting to speak to somebody like you. You're like that old uncle I never had. God, dog, that was what now, about what 12 years ago, and I was the old uncle then. God, dog, what am
So
I,
what are you
grandfather
now?
now?
The ancient uncle?
No, but I embraced it. I love that because I can always tell you about the old man phase. I'm going to open my mouth and talk and say whatever it is that I want to talk about.
Right.
So, when I got up there, and she said she was going to pick me up because they had a certain stipend that they were going to give me while I was there. They're going to pay me some cash on the way out. And I was very pleased with it also. I'm like, wow, I could do this every week. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I had a nice hotel. There's a couple restaurants around. They gave me some cash to go eat. They gave me half the money, which was like $2,000 to speak one time. Which, when you're real out there, the going rate is at least 5,000 when you're somebody. So they got the budget me that wasn't as developed. So I got $2,000. I got 1,000 up front and some money, a couple $100 to eat for the next 2 days, which was way more than what I needed. So when she picked me up at the airport initially, and she told me she was on her way and whatever, and I'm like, I'm looking out for, she didn't tell me what vehicle. So I'm looking out, every car that went by, I'm looking. I knew what she looked like because I saw her Black Planet page and we had communicated and I saw her picture, so I knew what she looked like. But this brand new 2009 Mercedes, so long, a long bed, it's not no baby one. It was a long one. I don't know much about cars like that, but models, I love to watch the videos and stuff. What? The rims, the tint, the polish, the wax. I never saw one like this.
Wow.
And she pulled up in front of me. I said, this ain't her. She rolled down the window and said, Lance, hop on in. I'm so glad to meet you.
Oh, wow.
Not that I didn't think black people couldn't have that, right? When we hopped in, I said, wow, this is a nice vehicle. So yeah, Superman. It was a Maybach. I think it's the kind that you call Barbus, Barbus. I think that was like slightly below $1 million.
Ooh.
A Barbus. I remember that. The Barbus is wide and long. You're like looking at it and you're like, what is this? And you see it's a Benz and you know it's like a on the level of a Bentley. And they don't make too much of those, right?
Right.
So I'm sitting in this bed with like, God, dog, right? But I'm not showing it visibly because you don't mature older man. And I told us it's a nice vehicle and everything. You see the wood trim and the way that I didn't hear nothing outside. When I was out there at the airport, when we got it, we didn't hear none of that. It was so soundproof and all this. So you know what she told me? And I'm saying this because of the status level that some of us can be on that level. You know what she told me? She said, oh, yes, this is the one I have this year. My father wants me to always drive a car that's never more than a year old. So next year it'll be something else. And she wasn't bragging when she was saying it. It was a way of life for her. Her father was a Nigerian oil tycoon and had his hand in all of these businesses, and a car every year for $1 million or a little less was nothing for his little
Wow.
princess. And she said how it was just a few months ago that she got rid of the 2008 and he had to approve it. She better not go and get some small BMW. That's because see, his pride was tied up in it to show off to his friends that, yes, I buy a new car for you every year. And he pays up for anything that may need to be done, but it's a new car, so there's nothing that needs to be done. She
Wow.
must live in the best condo that she owns. Now, he may not switch that out every year, but it must be the best, everything paid for. Because his pride is hooked up in that, because he has money and his daughter must not be seen in certain parts of town. And she must be on this level. And she must have way more than all the professors combined have in their salaries in Korea. So you better treat my daughter right, because we will come over there with the money influence that we have and we will own your ass and we will own your school, because she's only going to be at the school for a certain time to get, and I may send her somewhere in the UK or somewhere in Singapore or whatever, and she's going to be rolling like that. Bug me out. Bug me out.
Wow. I'm sitting here
You
looking
see what I
at
mean?
Barbara. I'm listening to you, but
Up. Okay, so they modify luxury cars. I just know that that's
yeah.
something that I saw on the road next to me one time. I'm not saying that's what it was. I just don't know like all of that,
Well,
in
they
detail. I
have it.
used to,
They
but I
have
don't.
it specifically that says Barbara Mercedes, so they do have some kind of affiliation with Mercedes, where they have their name on the car.
Mm,
Hmm.
mm. So, even still, with her father being the first example of manhood, who the hell is going to keep up with that? You know what I mean? He
Right.
probably has her husband chosen already.
Oh yeah.
He's the kind of father, from what I've seen from a distance, he's got to have a hand in every part of her life.
Mm-mm.
He's probably, imagine the talk that he has with that young man.
Oh yeah.
And that young man better be connected to somebody who has a lot of money too. So therefore, she might go and run off with the dude in the projects with the Barbus Maybach Benz. You know what I mean? And he might be driving it with his boys going down to the chicken spot. You know what? I'm just making that up. You never know.
You never
But
know.
opposites do attract. Oleala was right when she said that
Hmm.
as a young man, never think that you can't approach a different type of woman, a different type of status. You never know.
That's
But it
right.
shouldn't be for a hustle thing. It shouldn't be for an ego thing. With our relationships, if we clean ourselves out from the inside, we need to just approach things sincerely. Because life is long, but it could be short if you mess up
That's
and waste
true.
time.
That's
Just
true.
don't waste anybody's time.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? That's what it's all about. Now,
Yes,
did I
and
read to the end? And we have the next one, the
uh,
superior man, or did I? There's
yeah.
still more in this chapter.
Um, let's see. You did go to the next one will be superior, the superior
Yeah,
man. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it's up
Let's
to you
hit
if you
that
want to
one.
read. You want to read that one?
Yeah, just to finish it, since it's in this segment, there may be parts of it I skipped
Actually,
because we want
the
to.
next
Yeah.
page, the next page, you will be finished with that section. So if you wanted to just read
Okay.
to the next page and then, read everything all the way through, you expound on anything.
Yeah, because they went to all these different books and these different
Yeah.
people. I think we can actually do the first paragraph, skip this next paragraph because he starts to talk about the novel, some novel,
Right. So
whatever.
just do the
But I
first
think
paragraph and then go down to
and the rest, and yeah, then we
yeah.
get the women to worship them. Yeah, no, we'll do it
Right.
like that. I'll
Okay.
skip past these examples and get to the nitty gritty because I would hate to do another show and include
Right.
this part, and it's too fragmented. Let's try to. So these shows are always going to be
Yeah.
kind of long, but like I said, I was going to put the time in. We're gonna
Right.
put. We're about that life. We put the work
Thank
in.
you. Thank you.
And again, I say this is not us doing this kind of stuff. Is so much fun for me. This is not just about
Hmm.
hits. I can go
No,
down
we
to the
don't care.
Medina
We don't care
Market.
about that right now. We're just
Yeah. I can go down to the Medina Market tomorrow and find a couple of bootylicious young ladies and talk to them on camera and let them show their charms because you got them types out here too.
hmm
And just get like get it's not about that for me. Yeah, a little eye candy doesn't hurt, but it's not like we're looking for hits. We're putting in good sound work that we can get something from, and then we're still gonna have fun.
exactly.
Ain't nothing wrong with showing a little booty now on the channel. You know what I mean? But I'm saying we're gonna put in quality. We're gonna put it in quality. You know, there's a diabetic that will put sometimes a little extra sugar on the stuff. The person who has high blood pressure, like, ain't nobody around. I'm at the party
Put
enjoying
some
myself. Shake
salt,
a little
man.
extra salt. You know what I mean? So
I
we're gonna
need
talk
me some
about.
salt.
I know, right? The superior man. He
Okay.
seems brilliant, skilled, strong, and stable. You know who I'm thinking about as I read this, right? He
Keep going.
radiates confidence and power. He could he could be a high-powered businessman, a professor, an artist, a guru. Even though he may be older and not so physically attractive, his self-assurance gives him an attractive aura. For the woman attracted to this type, a relationship with him would give her an indirect feeling of strength and superiority.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to skip this one part here where they get specific and go right to. Although the relationship details might be quite different now, this type of projection is all too common among women. It stems from feelings of inferiority. The woman in this case has internalized the voices of the father in others who have been so critical of her, who have lowered her self esteem by telling her who she is and how she should behave.
Right.
Not having ever developed her own strength and confidence, she will tend to search for these qualities in men and exaggerate any traces of them. Many of the men who respond to her sense her low self-esteem and find this alluring. They like the adoring attention of a woman, often younger, whom they can lord over and control.
Mhm.
This would be the classic professor seducing the student. Because such men are rarely as brilliant, clever, and self assured as she imagines, the woman either is disappointed and leaves or is trapped in by her low self esteem, bending to his manipulations and blaming herself for any problems. And I'm going to say something that is sexual, but I've said it before, and I'm going to say it as a
I know
man,
exactly
as
what
a
you're going to
worldly man,
say.
exactly when it comes to that low self esteem. I'm going to
Hmm.
say that for, and I'm not some fiend, but I always do this to be entertaining, but it's true. A low self esteem blowjob is the best blowjob any man can get. Silence.
Crickets.
No, and again, no.
Don't all answer at once.
Okay, let me go a little deeper with that.
No,
We're talking about from that man who wants that control, because we had the Lingus Love Show, and we had the psychology of the blowjob. So it's not an absolute. It's not an absolute, because not to go into that topic, but there are different dynamics on a psychological level in the one who receives the act performed on him. But for that one who is controlling, that one who is domineering and wants to be lording over, that's what I meant. But I said it's shock effect with the first part, the second part first, that for him, a woman with low self-esteem will try harder to please that man that she thinks is above him because of her low self-esteem. You see what I mean? They may feel they have a major flaw. They may feel they're overweight. They may feel their face is not as attractive. And they very well may be a dime, but to themselves they're not. So he's getting it on a bargain basement level. The symbolism of this thing. And these guys out here, man, how'd you get such a gorgeous woman, man? How is she so obedient to you? Whatever. Because he rides the back of her low self-esteem until the wheels fall off. So she realizes what he's doing.
Right.
I have to tell it.
That's true.
I have to tell it. And so you have other guys now, like, who don't understand that dynamic, and they'll say it this way. In the hood way. Let's talk about the hood way. Which they're right, but they're getting it like they say about the so-called fat chick. Which there's nothing wrong with a woman who's a little heavy or whatever. She might be the sweetest person in the world. But in the hood way, their way of saying what I said about the low self-esteem blowjob, man, them fat chicks, man, they so think a lot better than them others that think they fine. Because they ain't working with as much, man, so they got to go all out. Get them a bucket of chicken, boy, you good for the night. Get a little blunt, a little something to drink, and you good. I'm just saying I would, hear that. Costco Sam's Club head. Wait a second, you sure you don't want to come on this? Oh my God. That brought up a memory. Costco and for real.
Oh,
this
God.
is adult talk. So if I say something like that, it's not because it's
God
absolute.
help us.
I know. Only Miko.
Only Miko.
Miko, we need a show from you. Come on now. You're so funny. Look what you just said. Costco Sam's Club head. That's discount head. Bargain basement booty. Don't get me started, because you're not going to be just as bad as you when you get me started, right? Discount head. Oh man, come on now. Tomorrow, within the next 2 days, Mika, you got to come on. Whatever you want to talk about, we're going to talk about. Even her in the chat room typing makes us laugh. But it's true.
I know.
Okay, so where was I in this? Okay.
Where were you?
Okay. Now, what's such a woman? That's what I have to talk about. Because the last sentence before that was saying about bending to his manipulations and blaming herself for any problems. Okay, here we go. What such a woman needs to do first, realize that the source of her insecurity is the critical opinions of others, which she has accepted and internalized. It does not stem from her inherent lack of intelligence or worthiness. She must actively work at developing her assertiveness and self-confidence through her actions, taking on projects, starting a business, mastering a craft. With men, she must see herself as their natural equal, as potentially strong and creative as they are, or even more so. With genuine self-confidence, she will then be able to gauge the true worth and character of the men she meets. So she can repair this.
Yes.
But see, that man who symbolically is on the receiving end of her low self-esteem, possibly in the form of a blowjob or not, or just her undying attention to him because of her low self-esteem, Doesn't mean that a woman has to have this low self-esteem, but there's some men who go out there and look for it. And because you are trapped in this, they keep you in that place of keeping low self-esteem because, see, you depend on what they think of you. And they may compliment you just enough to keep the spark alive and say something else to shoot you down to keep you in that place. You got a good personality, girl.
Yeah, they break her.
Well, you may say it again.
I said these men will break you.
Exactly. You got a good personality, but you may not be as pretty as your sister, but you're all right. You're all right. And she accepts this. Not that you're going to compete with your sister, but there's always the standard that you can never live up to. As soon as you jump through the hoop, they raise the hoop up or move the goalpost. So you never get it. You never get there. You understand? So there are situations that I've been in where I have encountered women like this. And I fed into them. I wasn't using them for their low self-esteem. I don't like to see that. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to take it, do me because we have a good relationship. Do me because, not because of your low self-esteem, but because we honor each other. Because I'm not going to lower myself to meet you there and keep you there. Because see, these men who only run after these kind of women who need to be built up, who never had that in their life, they're the ones with the real low self-esteem.
That's right.
Because they only choose women who are ailing because of their upbringing of not having the person or the people or the support system around them to build them up.
That's right.
And you know what? I have built up women without requiring anything from them. I don't like to see it around me. I like to motivate and encourage. And again, I will say also on the sexual tip, that many of our sisters only feel that what they have of value is something sexual. Stop that. You're much more than that. Now, you may get a little aroused, a little horny, and have a little friend come around and do what you do. I'm not mad at you for that. But don't let it be based on you thinking that's all you have to offer.
Exactly.
Because there are men who will keep it that way. They'll suddenly put you down while getting the goods. Like Miko said, discount head or Costco, Sam's Club Costco stuff. And just like some of them people that I've known who work in Sam's and Costco, who, not that a college degree means you're brilliant, but they've conquered that. And they've had master's degrees. And of course, they may not be able to get a job in their area of expertise, but they may have accomplished those things and know they're intelligent and maybe a little programmed, but they don't try harder to go and do something on their own with the brilliance they have. So Costco gets their brilliance at a discount price to pay them only so much an hour. So Costco is getting the blowjob from them too, from the low self-esteem, even though it may not be sexual. Wow. You see how we sell ourselves short?
Exactly, I agree.
You see that? So it's not just that, it's so many other things. You see what I mean?
My twin sister is going to go deep on that.
Say it again?
I said my twin sister, when you interview her, I'm gonna ask her to go deep on what you just said.
Oh, please do. And we'll go way out. We'll wade in the water way out. When we go to the beach, we ain't just gonna put our foot in it.
Right.
We're gonna go way out and scare the sharks away with the truth we bring.
Exactly.
Or the realness or the authenticity, because I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. Right, Julia, that's right. She's an easy target, and these sharks out here can sniff it.
Right.
And it may not be a sexual act performed. It may be when they want to use her for money. They may want to use her for her car. They may want to use her for access into a world that they can never go into because she has a certain status.
Right.
Your daddy can hook me up with this, right? So, and he'll tell her he loves her just to get access to what the father can do for him. There's a lot of manipulation going on out here based on this low self-esteem of either the woman or the man, which a lot of times it's the woman who feels that. And we have a lot of brothers out here who don't have proper esteem, but it's just different.
Right.
And they're sitting ducks and they get used. And when the real man comes around to get that woman hip, that man don't like that new man. He may not be with her, but might be a co-worker who has access to her time, and he builds her up. And she comes home with a little more confidence, like, hey, it ain't gonna be like this too long. And it may not happen after one day, but the constant exposure to somebody who boosts you up, and it could be a girlfriend. Girl, you don't need to be dealing with that nigga like that. He using you. And it may shock her. And she may get some truth wrong thrown at her, and she nibbles on it. It's like, wait a second. In your meditation, in your quiet moments, you begin to see how you're really being used. But you
Right.
need to pull away from the situation. It's just like when you see a drone. You're like, oh, this little thing flies in the sky and takes video. But look at the symbolism of the drone. And we got to drone ourselves sometimes. And what do I mean by that? When you walk down the street that you've been living on for years or for a good long time, you only see the street in the area as it is. But if you got a hold of a drone
Oh man.
and let the drone go up in the sky,
Yes.
high up,
Yes.
and you get that video footage and pop it into your computer, you're like, that's what my neighborhood looks like?
Yeah.
That's how far I live from the corner store?
Or do
That's what
Google
the
Earth.
rooftop. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if you droned yourself, what would you see in your life? If you pulled back from the situation and not keep it in your face, like that wall that I knocked down in my old house, and I saw that it wasn't something permanent, and sunlight came into the next room where it couldn't come before, what would you see? Nothing's permanent. The low self-esteem that you have that you don't think you have, or whoever, whatever, or what you think of yourself, is not permanent. It doesn't mean that it's there forever.
You can change
But there
it.
are people who want you to think that it's there forever because it benefits them.
That's why people reinvent themselves. Once they recognize what their drawbacks are, they can go elsewhere and reinvent themselves.
We will talk about that, Superman. We definitely will.
Yeah.
And Shirley, thanks for the compliment. I don't have any piece of paper behind me. This is just, experiences and stuff.
Yes, indeed.
I don't claim to know, it's just I've seen so many different things. I've seen and been around and processed things from young ages, and I don't, it's just my
Multitude and
experience.
wealth of experience. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm thankful for that. And that's why I'm glad I let the talk people's ears off. If you can benefit from it. You know what I mean? I'm not selfish at the barbecue or the cookout. When I have a cookout, I have a lot of food. And if you want, I'm like that old lady who, you want a plate, baby? Go on back there and get that plate of food. It's okay. She don't even know who they are, but she's sharing.
Right.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean? It's the joy of sharing. Ain't nobody gonna be around me hungry. You know what I mean?
If it's only based on the sexual, physical, then it will be short-lived.
Exactly.
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't
that the truth?
So
after a while, that get your belly full.
Wow. Okay, where was I? Am I still on the superior man?
Yes, you're finished with that. Now you do the woman of worship, and that should be
wow. Okay.
This should be interesting.
He's driven and ambitious. This is the woman to worship him. He's driven and ambitious, but his life is hard. It's a harsh, unforgiving world out there, and it's not easy to find any comfort. He feels something missing in his life. Then along comes a woman who is attentive to him, warm and engaging. She seems to admire him. He feels overwhelmingly drawn to her and her energy. This is the woman to complete him, to help comfort him. But then, as the relationship develops, she no longer seems quite so nice and attentive. She certainly has stopped admiring him. He concludes that she has deceived him or has changed. Such a betrayal makes him angry. This male projection generally stems from a particular type of relationship with the mother. She adores her son and showers him with attention. Perhaps this is to compensate for never quite getting what she wants from her husband.
Isn't this what you see how you wound up speaking it before you read it?
Wow.
Because when you were talking it, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
listening to it. I'm like, why the hell does that sound like something that I read? And I'm looking to see if you were reading it from somewhere.
And I didn't read this
And
part
you didn't
yet.
read this part
I
yet.
didn't touch that part.
But it's
I
exactly what you talked about.
wow.
Keep going.
Mm, wow. Okay. This mirror projection generally stems from a particular type of, okay, I read that part. Okay.
Mm. She fills the
Let's just
boy
say it
with
again.
confidence.
Okay, let me see. Okay, yeah, okay. She fills the boy with confidence. He becomes addicted to her attentions and craves her warm, enveloping presence, which is what she wants. When he grows up, when he grows up, he is often quite ambitious, always trying to live up to the expectations of his mother. He pushes himself hard. He chooses a certain type of woman to pursue and then suddenly positions her to play the mother role, to comfort, adore, and pump up his ego. In many instances, the woman will come to understand how he has manipulated her into this role, and she will resent it. She will stop being so soothing and reverential. He will blame her for changing, but in fact, he is the one projecting qualities that were never exactly there and trying to make her conform to his expectations. The ensuing breakup will be very painful for the man because he has invested energy from his earliest years and will feel this as abandonment from the mother figure. Even if he is successful in getting the woman to play the role, he himself will feel resentment at his dependency on her,
Mm-hmm.
the same dependency and ambivalence he had toward his mother. He may sabotage a relationship or withdraw. His anima has a sharp, recriminating edge, always ready to complain and blame.
Mm-hmm.
The man in this case must see the pattern of these relationships in his life. What this should signal to him is that he needs to develop from within more of the mothering qualities that he projects onto women.
Mm-hmm.
He must see the nature of his ambition as stemming from his desire to please his mother and live up to her expectations. He tends to drive himself too hard. He must learn to comfort and soothe himself, to withdraw from time to time and be satisfied with his accomplishments. He needs to be able to care for himself. This will drastically improve his relationships. He will give more instead of waiting to be adored and taken care of. He will relate to women as they are, and in the end, they will perhaps feel unconsciously impelled to provide more of the comfort he needs without being pushed into doing this.
Goddamn.
Mm, mm, mm,
That's all I'm gonna
mm.
say. That's all I can
Wow.
say.
Mm,
This
mm,
one hit me.
mm. Oh, really? Wow.
Hmm. But that's all I can
Wow.
say.
I'm gonna find out later on.
Are you gonna go to bed?
Episode after dark.
Are you gonna go to bed?
I'll
You should just you should just stay up
end up
until the
not
morning
sleeping at
show.
all. I know, right? That's what I have to do.
I need the psychiatrist couch.
They'll be like, I love to be a fly on that one to hear what they're talking about. Could you record it, put it up? I wouldn't do that to you.
I,
Wow. And
I
there's so
need a
much
couch.
more. You need a couch, right?
I need a
You need a
couch.
long-term couch for
I need
this
a
one.
long couch. Oh God.
Wow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-mm,
Mm-mm.
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 I love this stuff. And I'm telling you, even if I was like 11 to 12 years old, I'd be
Mm-hmm.
rolling with this conversation.
You would be,
I
huh?
always love stuff like this.
Oh boy.
This is gold to me. This is
Yes.
where I can sit down and just speak. Years ago, I remember
Yeah, Sherelle.
when,
Oh
when,
my
when the
God.
free when the free chat rooms came out in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And, you come on home, you relax a little bit, and you're like, that's like a guilty pleasure, and you get on. Not necessarily to look for nobody, because I had no problems in that department, but just to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And we got into some deep conversations, even though many of the people who were popping in on an extremely low vibrational and carnal level.
Mm-hmm.
There were people who were amazed the level of conversations that maybe me and two other people got into, and people would pop in. Like you'd have a guy come in, what the hell going on with this, man? I'm looking. What's up with the honey? What's your name, girls? It's like, listen, man, we have the conversation here. What the hell you come on here for, man? You know, come on, what kind of dude are you? You won't come on here and talk shit, and he'd hang up. And when people lurking that pop in, I remember one night we had a long, good conversation about relationships, and this was on a free chat room before they started charging. And I remember there was a lady from Far Rockaway who was probably like about 20 years older than all of us, because most of us were in our 20s and early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, this needs to be like a talk show. I'll never forget that. Not just me, because it was a lot of other people contributing, but she said, this is better than a TV talk show.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Maybe she's listening to us these days and don't know that that was me. Maybe she'll be like, oh, I remember she lived in Far Rockaway. And she kept coming on different nights. We'd miss each other sometime, whatever. And then they started charging for it and all this stuff. And then I stopped with that. It wasn't like I was on there all the time. But I'm laying there like, I'm dozing. Let me see who's on here. And you say, I'm going to hang out for 20 or 30 minutes. You end up being there for 2 hours. So I was always a talking fool.
No doubt.
Yeah, but this is like, it's perfect.
Man. I could have sworn I read that. I know I read it, but it hits different when somebody else reads it.
Yeah, because it's weird because I'm sitting here talking it from experience and it was already written.
Right.
Which what they say, like Sister Danita was saying the other day, and this is something that I know, and I've had that conversation years before, not to take away from her, but when an idea or a thought comes your way, if you don't use it or put it out there or claim it, it's going to go to somebody else. So this book is in my hand, and he obviously wrote this book like not yesterday.
Right.
But these things are floating in the atmosphere, and we can download them when we're right and our filters are clear. You see?
That's
so
right.
Again, it's all about cleansing yourself, rewiring yourself, and making yourself better, knowing, and you must know that you're not ever going to be perfect. And you got to question anybody around you who tries to get some kind of perfection out of you and demand something higher for their own selfish projections. And that word projections is very important to meditate on. Because understand, especially for the sisters, and women do it to men too now, but men will project onto you what they want.
Yes, more
and
so
they'll do
than
it in a
we
very
do.
nice way.
Yeah.
And most women are accommodating and loving, and if you seem to be a righteous man, and you know somebody that a woman can look up to, they want this. Because like Farrakhan said it, I'm going to quote him. I can claim that for myself, but I've said it before. But he said it, every time you see what the world would call a no good woman, it's because of a no good man that was in her life. That's not simping, because man, you simping for the women. No, I spank the women too when they need it. That's funny. I say spanking. This woman's got this outfit on, so I say, "Oh, that's what you're thinking about." No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, our correction of each other. And that's what we need to learn to do, correct each other. If I'm wrong on something or you disagree, you can say disagree. But if I'm really wrong on something, guide me.
Yeah.
That's why you say conversation, con meaning with, converse. So many times there are people who talk at us, but never comprehend what we're saying in what we think is a conversation, but it's one directional for them. They're getting off. You listen to me, and I don't want to hear nothing you have to say. Or I'll sit there quiet and let you talk, but I'm not hearing you, and I refuse to hear you.
Exactly.
Make sure your relationships and unions and conversations are complete. That's why you have reading in school, and that's why the next part was reading comprehension. Anybody can read off words, and at the end of it, how many times in elementary school the teacher caught one of us or somebody else and made them read, and they read it beautifully. They say, "Okay, now close the book and tell me what it is that you just read."
And they're like, "Oh,
what you say?" They try to go back in the book. Don't go back in the book. So when you communicate with people, there's so many ways that they communicate, not just with words, because they can communicate with their eyes, with their body language, with the tone of their voice.
Right.
So what would you rather have? And I'm going to use a little profanity to prove the point.
Mm-hmm.
You have somebody say good morning to you,
Mm-hmm.
and they're smiling at
Mm-hmm.
you.
Right.
And you know them and they can get away with saying this. You might not have said it too much, and they say, and nobody else is hearing, good morning, bitch. How you doing? Now, not that you accept this as a word, but they're a dear friend and they say that. Now, you're not used to talking this way from her, but you don't question it as much. Now you have another person who doesn't use the profanity,
Mm-hmm.
but they're looking at you up and down. They can't stand you.
And they're
And they
saying the
say,
same thing in their mind.
in their mind, but they say good morning and smile.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see in their eyes they cannot
Mm-hmm.
stand you. So they don't even look at you. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. That's worse to be being called a bitch in an
Mm-hmm.
adoring way between two people that know each other.
That's true.
So look at that communication. See?
Mm-hmm.
Some women will, not that women have to be in the kitchen to make the food for the man, but I'm just saying in this example, could be the man making
Right.
breakfast for the woman, or lunch or dinner. But
Right.
some women will throw together a meal and plop it down on the table. Technically, they made you your dinner.
Mm-hmm.
They threw the ingredients together, didn't taste and make sure it tastes. They just slopped the thing and slopped it down in front of you, walked away. As opposed to if she really and truly loved you,
Mm-hmm.
she puts it down gentle. Honey, here's your meal. I
Right.
really hope you enjoy it, and gives you a hug.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
With
not trying to turn
with
anybody
a
into
knife
Ivory
and
with Genie or
fork.
anything.
With a knife and fork
With a knife and fork,
and
right?
a
Exactly.
napkin.
Exactly. And a little
Mm-hmm.
something to drink.
And
And
something
it
to
may be
drink.
a simple meal that may not rival that of a five-star restaurant, but it's the feel behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
So what do we throw off? What do we
True.
project from ourselves that make people misunderstand us because we may be projecting the wrong thing? How many
Mm-hmm.
times have a person been mad at some other situation, but they're still angry and they communicate with you and you think they're angry with you?
Right.
They didn't have the sense to say, like sometimes I'm looking, look, I look angry anyway when I'm deep in thought and in public.
Me
You know,
too.
I didn't know you, man.
I look
I thought you killed somebody.
freaking miserable. Trust me. I
You mean
look.
the sweet Empress Elegy is looks miserable?
Listen. I listen. I was told by a dear person
Mm-hmm.
anyway that I
Check
that
you out. Spill the beans. Go ahead. You done put your foot in your mouth now. You might as well finish it up because we're gonna bug you until you tell it.
that
You
I raised
started it, you gotta
I
finish
I
it.
I raised miserable children
That's what they told you? Oh no, your children
because
ain't miserable.
I was oh yes they are.
No, but it's good. Look, but look, like we said about the dark side, right? It's good to have that dark side. Because if we don't have the dark side, we get taken advantage of now, right?
Like that's
This is the
true.
thing.
That's true.
This is the
That's
thing.
true because it works. It helps them.
No, it helps. And when people could sense it, like
Mhm.
that lion, you know, out in the so-called wild. Ain't
Mhm.
nobody effing with him because
That's
they know
true.
what can happen.
That's true.
And
That's
people
true.
know who to choose. Oh, something hit me in the brain. Let me tell you what happened.
Mm.
Daniel, the motorcycle guy.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
he's okay. Nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to him.
Okay.
But he had an experience.
Okay.
So he went up in the mountains
Uh-huh.
and he was looking to get some property early yesterday. I say yesterday because now it's yesterday, right?
Right.
Well, it's not yesterday for you, it's still today. Okay. But he went out on the property with the person who was selling it.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad because I think my conversations with him really helped him to see different because he was always, I want to go to America, I want to go to America. Now he's going to get land here. And I'm
Mm.
glad that he's doing that. But
Right.
he went down to the property and they both had to turn around and run.
What?
You know why?
A
You know
mountain
why?
lion.
No, there are lions out here near certain reserve areas where it's controlled, but they're looked at as an endangered species, and it's nowhere near here. It's a
Right.
whole other region of Ghana. But one of
What?
the things that many people don't think, you know why they turn around and ran for their life?
What?
What they saw as far as an animal, it raised up in front of them a king cobra. King cobra. I think you blanked out for a second because I don't hear you.
No, my mouth is open.
And you know where the land was.
Oh my
where
God.
they looked.
Where?
It wasn't too far from our interests up there in the same mountain.
You're kidding.
Yes. So we can't forget that this is not Florida. Now Florida may have their pythons in the reserve area down there, what they call it, is the Everglades or something like that, little area down there. And they have their walls and stuff. You're not gonna walk. And people think, there are certain places down there, alligators and stuff. But up here, where you go into the mountain areas in the country that's connected to miles and miles and miles of country, you will see that.
I don't want to see that.
So many feet in front of them with the wide looking thing, and but we went and did some research on venomous snakes here. There are some that are not, but of course with snakes, when you see a snake, it's always venomous. You can't. I don't think this is, and you get bit with the what? In my research, there's one out here worse than that. The black mamba.
Yeah.
The black mamba that when they bite you, it's a 100% fatality rate.
Right.
If they bite you, you die. So I was telling this Scurv, I said, listen, it's gonna be a big wall and barbed wire. She said, I ain't gonna help, they can come over. I said, well, it's gonna be lights, but we ain't going out there at night. Even if we have things cleared. You know what I mean? Because you never know. Shoot.
That's right.
And you go up there and you see these big holes that go into the ground. What you think is going in there? Mice?
Exactly. I always thought about that, I mean, that's why I take my hat off to her, because I know y'all got she be walking around them damn lizards when she's doing her pruning and whatever. I don't know how she does it. I'm sorry.
No, the lizards don't bother her, but I know the lizards bother you, but I know that. and we're kind of off topic, but we're kind of wrapping it down anyway. But we're just talking for a few minutes.
Hit the like button, guys. I want to get to 100. Thank you. I love you.
And download the app.
Yes.
It's not bootleg. It won't hurt your phone.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I have it on my phone. It really looks nice. It looks like a regular phone app now,
Yeah, because I had to set up different. We had to dig.
Thank you, guys. Y'all are so sweet. You see, Brother Lance? I needed 3 to make 100, and all 3 people came through for me. Thank you.
It's that sweet voice. You see? Yeah, that sweet voice is, I couldn't sell cookies like you. I mean, you just had that voice. Cookie?
You can't sell cookies. What the hell are you talking about?
That would make me a pimp. No, I'm just That came out too quick.
That came out too quick.
That's what cookies are.
See, I just gave away the secret, right? So we can't say
I know, right?
More.
I had no choice but to follow through.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, guys. I mean, I appreciate that, because we've been on here for what now? 3 hours, just about 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 hours.
I told you I was going to put that work in tonight. You're going to put that work in the morning too.
You did, yes.
That's what it's about. That
so, raise of hand. How many enjoyed this show and the topic? Please, I want to see everybody's hand raised. School teacher G.
I know, right?
Miss G, I like it. Very good. Queen Murad, how are you doing? Huh?
Queen, yes. No, I'm gonna have reason to be angry and rant tomorrow. I'm gonna find something and just rant off. Pick a nice topic and just
see. Everybody loved it. See, Brother Lance, even folks that didn't come in. Hi, Nakia, how are you? Good to see you. Yes, see, Brother Lance, they love this kind of stuff. Yeah.
We'll keep the variety going, but this is something that we're always gonna do.
Yeah, because the next segment that we're not going to start tonight, we'll do. It's called The Original Man / Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be good. And it talks about the masculine, the feminine styles of thinking, masculine, feminine styles of action.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Um, what else? Masculine, feminine side of self-assessment and learning. So you see, just the different ways that we all do
Yes.
things. The masculine, feminine styles of relating to people and leadership. What?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Listen,
Mm-hmm. So
we
much to
have
cover.
we have a lot
Yeah.
to learn, guys. A lot to learn.
Mm-hmm. And it's relatable. I mean, but many of
Yes.
us, no one here, because the intelligence level here in the chat room, and those who follow, I'm blessed. We're blessed. We have
Right.
a really drama-free, intelligent, set of folks
Right.
who are with us here, and I'm
Right.
cool with that. Like I say, I don't have to have millions. And all. Those who are here in this caliber is just so nice, and I'm glad. What I am glad about is that I'm understood in how I express myself. I'll bust out with something zany or sexual or something. You know what I mean? I just talk freely, but
Right.
at the base of it is just that's just the way I am, and I don't mean any harm by it or whatever. Um, I just always wanted to be myself. When I first got online, I said I can't wear a mask and come out here and project something that's just a one-way Charlie. I have different gears. We all have different gears. Why can't we just be ourselves and understand the core person that we are with the other little branches off the tree trunk? You know what I mean? So to do these shows and just to talk is no stress whatsoever. We will be doing much more of these, and because of my transition over into the motherland and all the things that it entails, that the things that we're working on, which read between the
Mm-hmm.
lines, you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a lot of things sometimes unexpected. There will be a time when we might not do a morning show unexpected because I have to be somewhere at the last minute because of a decision that has to be made. We'll
Right.
always double up,
Right.
and
Right.
we'll always be consistent. And when those barrels come here with the stuff that's in it, and that one little gadget that will allow us to do more content, no matter where I am, I'm really looking forward to that. Matter of fact,
Right.
Lizzie is
Right.
75. When she went to Chicago, she went and picked one up, and she has it. She's like, "Oh man, this is the best thing. Thanks for suggesting this to me." I'm like, I ain't gonna lead you wrong, but
Exactly.
mine is coming within the week and a half, whatever, and I can't wait. So we're gonna have all kinds of content put out there, live, and recorded, and videos, and written things, and just damn it, everything out there, as much as I can humanly possibly stand. Like I said, I've been inside the house for 2 days, monk
Wow.
like, most of it in front of the computer, taking a nap, getting something to eat, but setting things up under the
Mm-hmm.
hood
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
different upgrades on the site that you don't see, but for me, it adds more functionality. So this is a full-time endeavor, and it's a perfect cure for the midlife crisis, and I'm so thankful. I looked at the next chapter. They were saying how the midlife crisis hits us in our 40s for many of
40s.
us.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
damn,
I
a year and
know.
a half from now, that'll be like 20 years from me. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess I skirted the midlife crisis. You know
Me
what I
too.
mean?
Me too.
I feel like that dude that never knew there was a big thunderstorm coming, and I'm driving down the road, didn't see it because it was coming from behind, but I decided to go to Target or Walmart or Costco and shop a little bit.
At
And
Sam's.
I come outside, Sam's, right? And I come outside and realize, like, wait a second, where all this water come from? It rained?
Yep.
And people are like, man, it was a bad storm. I had my
Mm-hmm.
headphones on, I was inside shopping and standing in line. So sometimes we avoid certain situations and don't even realize it.
That's
Just
true.
like me with the
That's
midlife
true.
crisis, and yeah, I just keep myself busy. I don't see my number age. I say it every show, but I don't see
Right.
it. I'm engaging
I've
in
been
life, you
fortunate.
know?
Yeah, I think I'm just grateful, and I think that I've been fortunate that um I feel like chronologically it's going up, but emotionally and I would really say psychological, but I just feel like it's going down. You know what I mean? I think that
Right, right,
yeah, so I'm not experiencing midlife crisis per se because they're both not going in the same direction,
right,
One's
right,
going up, the
right,
other one's
right.
going down.
But you
Yeah.
but you learn to vibrate and
Yeah.
flow
Yeah.
and get into the energy of how you feel.
Exactly.
And the things that you bypassed maybe
Mm-hmm.
years ago when you're raising children, working on a job, and caught up into maybe a relationship that's here or there when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for me, it's being in the moment. I know that I'm going to jump up and have to jump on the show and get it ready. I know I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to have much sleep or whatever have you, but because I'm 4 hours ahead of you. But it's okay because
Brother
this moment is
Lance.
bliss. Yes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right because the sun is gonna be up. No, never mind. Go ahead. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that, like, as long as you have the present moment and you're enjoying it, what the hell you got to worry about tomorrow for if you keep the present always straight and be
Yeah.
real with it? Because when you move in denial, you accumulate this gunk that clogs your filter in life,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to
Mm-hmm.
pay for that later on down the road. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
continuously cleansing, meditating, and enjoying, everything will work out all right. But always be aware where your blip is on the radar screen in life. If
So
you got
true.
some issues, and that makes people say, "Oh, put their gun." I don't be talking about I got some. I ain't got no issues, no damn issues. No, I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean like you're toxic or a drama queen or drama king. I mean we all have stuff that we have to sweep up from the front yard in our house or dwelling.
Mm-hmm.
Things accumulate. We
Yeah.
interact with people. We catch
Right.
these feelings where they're unresolved and they build up.
Mm-hmm.
Cleanse yourself. Don't let these negative situations get the best of you or win over you. You deal
Right.
with them, and sometimes with these entities, you're going to have to tell them like it is.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, you're a user, and I'm just a money grab to you. And I don't like how you're moving. You're sneaky. You're an opportunist in the wrong way. And I don't want your energy around me anymore. See, you have the right to keep your vessel clean.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right to move about the earth with peace of mind.
That's right.
Many of us are too sheepish to claim that, and others will walk over us as long as we allow them to walk over us.
Mm-hmm.
But we feel guilty possibly because of our tyranny of the cheap mentality. That's
That's
wrong.
true. That is true. Yeah.
And we got to shake that because that might be the DNA emotionally of the family that we were raised up under.
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
And you have imaginary walls
Yeah.
around you or an imaginary fence of a line that you cannot cross.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With my enemies, with my naysayers, and with my so called haters, I always keep them guessing. Because if you think the line is here, oh, he's only going to talk this much or say this much, or I'm gonna make you see that there's no line, and the line is way over there, and I will get in your face, or I will say things that you think because you think I'm a genteel, sincerely nice person, which I am. But for you who have venom for me, I'm not gonna wait for you to bite me. I'm gonna chop your neck off, and you'll never have that chance. And for the good people, I'll give the shirt off my back. Just like that little white girl who was chubby and had the spinal problem, I will look out for her.
Right.
Because right is right and wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna walk over me, and you ain't gonna walk over anybody around me that's innocent, that's looking to pursue a better life, and that doesn't have that venom. And even the ones that don't have the venom, we have bad days sometimes, and I can look past that because, like synchronized swimming, I can take the high score and the low score and delete it and average it out, and still look at you as the lovely person you are. You just had a bad day.
Thank you.
That's right,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, indeed.
So on the wrap down,
Yes,
I'm gonna
sir.
let you have the final words with chat, play the music, and I'm gonna jump right in the bed. And
Oh,
for those who are
you're
looking
not
for the
gonna
show in
give
the
me the
morning,
couch? You're not gonna give I'm
I,
joking.
I love to,
I'm
but I would
joking
never
that
sleep.
I'm
Right?
joking.
I
I'm
know.
joking.
I'll
I'm
give you the couch tomorrow though after the show. We're gonna get you some
joking.
good couch.
Yeah, you you just wanna know.
You give good couch to me, set
Stop
me
it.
free and all.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop
Let my
it.
idiosyncrasies free. Ah,
Oh
but
gosh.
that's what it is. That's what it
Um
is.
Thank
But I'm
you,
gonna get right up. We're gonna do
Maymola.
the show.
Thank you. Oh my goodness,
Yes.
you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Listen, guys. Oh, thank you, Queen Murat. Why am I thanking you?
Humoret,
This is
thank
Brother
you.
Lance's show. Come on, Brother Lance.
Oh,
Thanks.
it ain't the same without you on here. So yeah, you have the right to say thank you. That's right. That's right.
Listen, guys. What can I say? This was an eye-opening experience, reading this and learning things. Hopefully we all learned a little something about ourselves, things that we may have to change, whether in the right or wrong. We may be projecting things, or we may have things being projected onto us. So for those people who don't want to buy the physical book, I dropped in the further up in the chat. You may have to scroll up because I'm not going to type it again. I dropped the name of the book. It's called The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, Greene. And you can go on pdfdrive.com and download the book. There's several of his books on there. So, you can have a field day and download as many as your phone or your computer can hold. And, just start reading. There's so many chapters, and I mean, so many things that you can learn about yourself. So that's what we need to do. Let's do the work. And this book can help us to do it. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you to everyone who stuck around with us. Really appreciate you. And,
Yes.
creator willing and the world lasts, we'll be back in the rising with
In a
my
few
show,
hours.
with my show.
Of
And
course. Of course.
my guest on my show tomorrow morning will be none other than Sir Lance Scurv, and
Okay. It's an honor.
he will be coming with the righteousness on the rising,
Whatever it may be, we're gonna find a
whatever it
reason to
may
do it
be.
that way. We're gonna come
Yes,
out swinging. We're
yes,
gonna come out
indeed,
swinging, and
yes,
we didn't create
indeed.
the links for that, but we're gonna do that probably
Oh, you'll get up
right
and do it.
before.
Yeah.
So yeah, so know that it will be 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know,
Exactly, exactly. And that's
so it's gonna
it.
happen. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love this. And I appreciate you staying up longer than you had intended. So as
It's
soon as
all
this is
love. It's
off,
all love. It's
oh,
all love. Trust
yes,
me, it's all
yes.
love. That's what it is. And Priscilla G,
Thank you.
thank you. And
Hmm.
everybody have a wonderful evening. And I hope you got something out of this. And we're going to continue more like this in the whole range of human nature, as well as life experiences on the real tip. You know what I mean? So we're going to do it that way. You're right, Romero.
Exactly. Exactly.
uh, and Priscilla G,
Yes,
have a
sir.
wonderful evening,
Take
everybody.
care.
And let's do what we do. All right. And we'll be back
Bye.
tomorrow. All
Mhm.
right. Take care.